Vegas, a city of big money and monumental dreams. A city where all your wishes can come true. Just like motorsports, it may take the right touch or a touch at the right time to launch a memory and trigger a celebration.
This team's ready to win, so it doesn't matter whether I'm ready.
In the high-stakes game of NASCAR, winning doesn't come easy. But if you do, newcomers last year learned the payoffs can be huge. For this year's youngsters, the road to Vegas has been rough. Already Daytona and The Rock have taken their toll. This game is not for the faint of heart. It takes guts to bet it all, to lay it on the line when your luck is down. So look out. When the smoke clears, it may be the stone face of the veteran gambler who walks away a winner. But even he knows when the green flag waves, all bets are off. We welcome you live to NASCAR's newest show play, situated just 15 miles north of the show capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Today, this posh $200 million Las Vegas Motor Speedway plays host to a high-stakes game called NASCAR, Stock Car Racing. ESPN Speed World continues our 50th anniversary salute to NASCAR with today's live coverage of the Busch Grand National Series Sam's Town Las Vegas 300. After 2 of 31 events on the 1998 Tour, we have a dead heat atop the standings with a youngster, Matt Kenseth, and Mark Martin. In fact, just 81 points separate the top 10. Yeah, there are some surprises there, but not at the top of the qualifying rung today. For more on that, here's Bill Weber.
Two veteran stars have an exclusive front row seat today for one of the biggest shows in this city, a matinee in the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Mark Martin is the all-time leader in Busch career wins. Today he's poised on the pole. He is the co-points leader, and he's also the clear favorite. Outside of the front row is Joe Nemechek. He starts second. He won at Daytona. And right behind them, starting third, another veteran, Jeff Burton. But now take a look at a long list of long shots lined up, taking their best shot against some tough odds. Buckshot Jones, Hermie Sadler, Joe Bessie. Outside of row 4, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Then there's Mike McLaughlin, Mark Green, Mark Krogh, and Jeff Krogh. For most of these drivers, a win wouldn't just mean beating the house, it would bring the house down.
LaJoie's 5th place run at Daytona and his 7th place finish at Rockingham has once again set him up as the odds-on favorite to win a record 3rd in a row Busch Grand National title. But you know, just like the folks who are putting money into the slot machines here in Vegas, drivers have to be patient. The big jackpot isn't until the end of the season after 31 races. Now 31 is also Randy's starting position. He's got a long way to go to get to the front. If we were racing at a place like Bristol, I'd say his chances of winning are about as good as me making money at the craps table. But folks, this is not Bristol, it's Las Vegas, a track that's very conducive to 3-wide racing. Last year, 12 different leaders and 25 lead changes. It should be a great race. Now let's go up top to the broadcast booth where Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, and Jerry Punch are standing by.
Thank you very much, Ray. We're glad you could join us for this 300-mile roll of the dice NASCAR style. This is the second time the Busch cars have come to Las Vegas. And, guys, last year, a 4th of this race run under caution. The track is wide. Is it really that tough?
It's deceptively tough. It's such an easy track that you can get in there too hard. You can get 3 wide. You can get in the wrong place on the racetrack, and you got cautions.
The biggest complaint that I talked to the drivers in the garage here, the biggest complaints they have is the racetrack is so smooth. The transitions getting in the corner, off the corners are so good. There's no feel to the car. The steering wheel does not feed the driver any information. They come in, the crew says, what's wrong? He said, I don't know.
And you don't know. You can overdrive the racetrack. That's the whole deal. It's so smooth, the transition's so easy getting in the corners and getting off that you don't feel the car. So you just drive it until it does something. You end up out of the groove. Like I said, I've been up all the way next to the wall. I don't know if there is such thing as out of the groove. You can run 3 or 4 wide, but you've got to be patient here. And I think experience with the Winston Cup drivers and the Busch drivers are going to pay off for them.
Well, we're going to feel the thunder of NASCAR racing throughout the weekend here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Of course, coming up later tonight, happy hour, 11 o'clock Eastern time. Tomorrow, RPM today at 1:30 Eastern, followed by NASCAR today at 2 o'clock. And then our live flag-to-flag coverage of the inaugural Las Vegas 400 on ABC Sports coming up tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern time. Can Dale Earnhardt pick up his second win in 1998? We'll find out tomorrow. When we come back, we'll take a look at the starting lineup and wave the green flag live from Las Vegas in a moment. Our Speed Road coverage of NASCAR Busch Grand National Series competition from Las Vegas, Nevada. It's been a beautiful day for racing here in Las Vegas, Nevada. The field of 43 cars set to roll the second ever NASCAR Busch Series event. The second richest event in the history of the series. There's a track description, 1.5-mile oval. The front and back stretch. It's a D-shaped oval, guys, and the banking isn't that significant.
Well, it's not really. It's a quad oval. The front stretch is very similar to Texas Charlotte Motor Speedways, where they don't ride up against the wall down the front stretch, you see. And, Kyle, the corners only bank 12 degrees. Not a lot of banking to lean on.
Not a lot of banking at all. And as we said, though, the transition is so smooth getting into the corners. It's so smooth coming out of it. You really don't know whether you're almost on a straightaway or in a corner.
Take a look at today's field. There are 29 Chevrolets, 10 Fords, and 4 Pontiacs. There are the current points toward the Manufacturers' Championship. Chevrolet has claimed it 5 times in the past 6 years. Take a look at our Suzuki starting grid. Mark Martin picking up his 20th career pole will lead him down, flanked by Joe Nemechek, who won the initial Busch Series event, the Napa 300 in Daytona. In row 2, Jeff Burton, another Roush teammate of Mark Martin, starts. He is the leader of all the laps this year, 141 laps more than anyone else in competition. And Buckshot Jones, 60th career start, he starts 4th. Back in row 3, Hermie Sadler, his best qualifying start for 1998. He starts 5th, and he is flanked by the winner last year at Dover, Delaware, Joe Bessie. In row 4, Jimmy Spencer, a brand new Mike Laughlin Chevrolet sponsored by Zippo. He starts inside, and I'm at the 3rd-generation driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr., starting outside of row 4. And in row 5, the man who sat on the pole at Daytona, last year's most popular driver, Mike Magic Shoes McLaughlin, and Mark Green, who keeps coming, getting better and better week after week, had a great run at Rockingham 1 week ago.
As we look to the rest of the field, there, the Croaks brothers, both of them back in row 6. Cars back, weaving back and forth. Elliott Sadler driving for the team that won the race here last year with Jeff Green driving. Matt Kenseth, the winner last week in Rockingham. Kevin LePage, his first ride in the Channel Lock car. We see Jeff Purvis back and forth. I tell you, it's a little cool out there, Kyle. They really need to get the tires flexed a little bit before the green flag.
Yeah, we had second-round Winston Cup qualifying here just a little bit ago, and that's what a lot of the drivers complained about. Their speeds were way down because they couldn't get enough heat in the tires in one lap.
Some of the veterans back in the field. Dale Jarrett starting back toward the back. You saw him starting at 22nd, 23rd spot. Dick Trickle is also back there. Stanton Barrett and Tracy Leslie. There were 51 Busch Series cars that came here trying to qualify. 43 start, 8 went home. And boy, that's tough to come all this way, Kyle Petty, when you want to race so bad in front of a national television audience and have to pull halfway across the country to go home.
It's tough to go down the street and miss a race and have to go home, believe me. But to come this far and to put this much effort into a race and to have to go home is, you know, there's so many good sponsors and good drivers that it's just getting tougher and tougher.
There see Dale Shaw, the starting 43rd on the field today. Jerry talked about those drivers a moment ago that missed the field. How about Ron Barfield, Rick Fuller, Bobby Hillen, Brendan Gaughan, Lyndon Amick, Chris Diamond, Dale Fishline, and Hank Parker Jr. A lot of dreams going down Interstate 40 today.
All right, let's check in the pits quickly with Bill Weber. Bill?
Okay, Jerry, it's certainly not the favorite topic of race fans, but this could come down to a fuel mileage race, not only today, but tomorrow. 60 to 65 laps on a full tank? Maybe. Some guys are now saying 70. 2 teams told me they might be able to make it to 80. Originally, the thinking here was these tires could go forever, but this morning in Winston Cup practice, a lot of teams found out that's not going to be the case, so look for guys to get 4 tires every time they come get fuel. There's a 3-set limit today in the Busch race. Further down pit road is Ray Dunlap.
Well, Bill, when you're talking about tires, I saw something happen just a little bit ago that's very rare. A tire change before the race actually started. Elton Sawyer took a provisional to get in with the Barbasol Ford today, car number 38. They put on 2 left side tires. They had a tire equalized, and the NASCAR officials were right there and said, Yeah, you don't want to start the race like that, so they let them put on 2 fresh tires.
And what Ray means by equalized, these tires that you see have a tire inside them, and they have different air pressures. If the air pressure gets the same in the outside-inside tire, then the inside tire flops around, and the vibration is incredible.
All right, some in-car camera coverage today. Mike Stefanik won 2 titles last year, Busch North, in the Big A Auto Parts. There's a Briggs & Stratton in-car camera for Tony Stewart's Pontiac, starting back in 24th position. Jeff Purvis, the Lance Snacks in-car camera, driving for James Finch. He starts in 17th. And Kevin LePage driving for Doug Taylor with the channel lock colors on board. He starts 16th today. And Joe Nemechek, front row Joe, starting where else but on the outside of the front row, in 2nd position with the Bell South Mobility in-car camera carried along on his Chevrolet. 200 laps, 300 miles. Take a look at that purse, $967,409. That would have been a good Winston Cup purse a year ago in a lot of places, Kyle, but huge purse for the Busch Series, 2nd largest in the 17-year history of Busch Grand National Racing.
And these guys deserve it. These guys deserve the race for the same amount of money that the Winston Cup guys do.
Green flag led by Mark Martin and Joe Nemechek.
Field comes down. Green flag is out.
Double file down the 9 degrees of angle.
Cannot pass until you get to the start-finish line. Look at the bets. Oh, wow. What a group that is. Look at Tony Stewart trying to go out on the outside, 3 wide, as Nemechek and Martin come off the second course for the first time.
Shuffle out down the backstretch. Joe Bessie trying to make a move for the 4th position. And we'll have the spot there is Mark Martin, the leader. Nemechek in 2nd. Jeff Burton is 3rd. And about 15 car lengths back to Bessie. That's the number 6 car. And a challenge for 5th.
And I said that you can't pass before you get to start-finish line. Shane Hall, the 85 car, passed before he got to start-finish line. NASCAR black flagged him. He'll have to come in and probably almost a lap. But Jeff Burton holds up right on that groove.
Great battle back for 5th position. And to the battle for the lead up front.
Jimmy Spencer goes by Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 3 car. Here's Nemechek. What Jerry's talking about on the inside, trying to take the lead. But Jeff Burton's going to hook up with Mark Martin, try to go by on the outside. And folks, I'm telling you, it passes this racetrack is difficult to get on the inside, Kyle, but all of a sudden, when you lose that cushion lead against you have to back off just a little bit, and the guy on the outside drives up beside of you again.
Yeah, if you dive down under somebody, your car has a tendency to be a little bit loose because you lose that little bit of air. And as you can see, Nemechek can't go in the corner as strong as he wants to. Mark checks up a little bit, gets on the gas a little bit earlier, and drives off on the outside. And it's tough to get around somebody. You can get in position, but they're absolutely clear of this time.
Oh, man, was that close.
And as you said, he couldn't clear him. He didn't clear him, Kyle. Nemechek couldn't quite get by. Mark Martin able to jam on the brakes to allow Joe Nemechek to get in line. Now they are single file. Nemechek, Martin, and now Burton will make a run on Mark Martin for 2nd spot. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
Well, a lot of people believe Mark Martin is clearly the favorite to win this race, but the Rouse team doesn't believe it. They think the favorite is Joe Nemechek. The early plan was for Mark Martin and Jeff Burton to hook up and double team on Nemechek to try and pull away. So the 60 and the 90 want to work together to get by the 87. But right now, it's the 87, the 9, and the 60 up front.
Well, I tend to believe some of those people, Nemechek looking awfully strong here in the early laps at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
And the favorite, Mark Martin, we see that he's falling back, and it looks like Jimmy Spencer is closing in. Here comes a group of cars off their corner, all searching for that spot. They're 3 wide as Mike Dillon, the 72, on the inside of Mark Krogan, 80. Bill Parsons on the inside of Tony Stewart. That's Phil in the 10.
Above Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That's the 17th, 18th, 19th spots on back as they try to race right in on the inside groove. That's from our Pennzoil copter cam. Fine folks at Pennzoil giving us a shot high above Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They squeeze it in there.
You go in the corner and you're not alongside that driver. There's always concern, Kyle, does he really know that I'm here?
Yeah, you just got to check up a little bit just to be, and especially this early in the race. You don't want to force anything this early in the race. And these guys are doing a really good job just filling each other out right now.
car number 44 that made the move on the outside. The drop of the green flag. You see that battle Phil Parsons. It was awfully good in that final practice session in the Duraloop Chevrolet. Car number 10 on the inside of Mike Cope. Rookie competitors in the Slim Jim machine.
Great Pete. That's awesome. Smoke off one of those cars. It's once again Phil Parsons in the 10 car.
Meanwhile, back up front, here is Joe Nemechek, and he is losing that advantage in a hurry.
And we see that Jimmy Spencer's moved into the 3rd spot by Mark Martin. And Jimmy Spencer, the white car, the Zippo Chevrolet, seems to be the fastest car on the track right now.
Brand new race car for Jimmy Spencer. Mike Laughlin machine coming to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, having some success in early on. After 7 of 200 laps, Joe Nemechek is our leader. Back with more live Busch Series action in just a moment. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway just moments ago, car number 9, the track gear Ford of Jeff Burton, able to make a move by that guy right there. We're going to show you what happened entering turn 1.
Well, they come off turn 4 where the pass is set up down the front stretch, and Burton gets on the inside. And Kyle, Joe Nemechek in the 87 might have been able to find him, but it's really early. Is there any point?
No point at all. Joe just checked up a little bit and said, okay, I'll follow him and see where his groove is, because he's been hounding me for the last 5 or 6 laps. And Joe just fell in behind him.
That white car, Jimmy Spencer, keeps getting closer and closer to the front.
Well, they have separated themselves considerably from the other pack that was trying to challenge them. There are the top 3, Burton, Nemechek, and Spencer.
There's Martin. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the first NASCAR Busch Series driver, and he is in 5th spot.
Well, they have strung out considerably. There's the 40 of Kevin LePage making a pass, or trying to make a pass inside of Michael Waltrip in the Band-Aid Ford.
He's taking over the 13th spot.
And you can see Michael right there. Michael was all the way down on the flat, what would be considered the flat, just because there's a line there.
And he just goes in the corner, puts that left front on the inside of the white line. Doesn't seem to be a problem at all.
It's like we said in the opening. There is no bad place on this racetrack. They run down on the flat. They run 3 wide. It's a great racetrack to be able to drive on.
The Busch drivers, and you're listening to Kyle Petty and Benny Parsons, our expert analyst, talking about tomorrow's race in Winston Cup may be the best Winston Cup race we have seen in a long time.
Hopefully there'll be a lot more racing in the race at Las Vegas than there has been so far this year, especially the Winston Cup stuff.
You see Phil Parsons on the inside of Michael Waltrip. That's the 72 car, Mike Dillon, Detroit gasket car, directly in front.
I wonder if Michael has a problem. He was 11th 2 laps ago, and now that pass there, or that near pass, that would shuffle him back to about 14th position.
Phil's able to make this spot. Michael just right on the flat part of the racetrack. What the heck? A little variety here. Michael's running a little bit higher. What do you think, Kyle? Is the car pushing?
I think his car's pushing a little bit from the center out, because as you see, they get position on him about in the middle of the corner, and then they drive past him coming up off the corner.
All right, Mark Martin has closed in on the Zippo Chevy of Jimmy Spencer. Mark had backed away or slowed down a little bit early on, but now he seems to be reeling him in. How about it, Bill Weber?
Looks like it might be improving a little bit, Jerry, but Mark has told his crew his car is very tight. So they will make an air pressure adjustment when they stop here along pit road. It's also the same story for Joe Nemechek. Now, Nemechek told his crew he's very tight. He nearly knocked down the wall. Martin's car coming to him a little bit. Joe Nemechek still a little tight.
See Jeff Purvis there in Buckshot Jones for just a second. Now back to the lead, and we see that those first 4 cars, and there was a 5th car. Dale Jr.
Well, that would explain why Nemechek and Mark Martin let those guys go by him. Why he let Jeff Purvis go by. Didn't contest him. This car pushing out toward the wall. We saw all that in qualifying today, earlier
Yeah, we did.
around Winston Cup qualifying. Take a look at the top 5, our rundown. The number in parentheses is showing you where those drivers started. Dale Earnhardt Jr. started back in 8th spot, currently showing in the top 5.
McLaughlin and we see Green and trade places. See, Mike Dillon started back in 21st. Here's Phil Parsons continuing forwards. Raymond Joe, obviously, we talked about him at the very top of the show, has picked up 6 spots up to 25th.
There's the track gear Ford leading here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The only driver who has led in both events, both Busch Series events at Daytona and Rockingham here in 1998. Burton has led 141 laps coming into this event, more than anybody else in the series, more than all the other drivers combined here in 1998. So trying to pick up his first win.
There see Shane Hall, by being black flag, did in fact become a lap down because of having to make the black flag go to these pits. We see Jeff Purvis as he closes in right on the back of Mike McLaughlin, down for 10th spot.
And Purvis says this is his first time to come to this racetrack. This team ran last year with Tim Steele, the former ARCA champion, and had a 5th place finish. Purvis started back in 17th spot. As you said, Benny, currently running in 11th, trying to have a shot at getting in the top 10.
Watch his hands on the steering wheel, Kyle. Look how little, there just doesn't seem to be any effort whatsoever to get the car to go around the corner.
No effort at all. You can see he's not squeezing the wheel. He's got a real light grip on the wheel, and he just kind of, almost like riding a motorcycle, just leans it into the corner, it seems like, and leans it up off when he comes up out of it. And his car's working really well right now.
It really is amazing. There's no more hand movement than that. And again, folks, this is at 155, 156 mile per hour average, probably hitting 175 or 180 at the end of the straightaway. We look back from Jeff Purvis back at the Kevin LePage car, the Channel car, and some of our spotters are telling us that there's some fluid coming from this car, from the Channel car. So
we saw possibly a puff of smoke come up a moment ago in front of our in-car camera. We'll ride along with Kevin LePage and the Channel Lock camera, the Doug Taylor machine, and now there's some smoke coming up. See it coming from the right side of the screen as the Duralube machine of Phil Parsons makes a pass to go by.
And that problem is not going to get any better. And it only does it down the straightaway. It's not doing it in the corners, it, Kyle.
No, but it could be, I tell you what, a lot of times these guys change motors right before the race. There's some oil on the headers and stuff. Or the oil tank is right behind the driver's seat. And a lot of times they'll overfill it, and it just has to find its own level. It'll blow a little bit out, and it'll smoke a while, and then it may stop.
All right, Kevin LePage started in 16th spot and climbed all the way to 11th, but now possibly some smoke. We'll see if we can diagnose the problem in his pits and tell you what it is when we come back in just a moment. Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada. Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, Ray Dunlap, Bill Weber, and here's truly Jerry Punch bringing you live Busch Series action for the second time ever at this beautiful mile-and-a-half facility just about 15 miles north of Las Vegas.
And we see Mark Martin in 3rd spot. Going to break a moment ago, we had him out of the top 5. The transponder, his electronic score, did not pick him up. There we see 16 through 30 in parentheses once again where they started. And here are the remainder of the 43-car field. Now, Shane Hall showing a lap down.
Now, we're talking about the Channel Lock car a moment ago in the Kevin LePage situation. Ray Dunlap is checking their pits. Ray, what is the situation?
Well, Doc, 4 or 5 cars down here have called in and said, we got oil all over the windshield. We looked at who those 4 or 5 cars were, and they were all following the number 40 car of Kevin LePage. I checked with Doug Taylor, the crew chief, and he said just what Kyle was speculating, a little bit too much oil in the oil tank. Said Kevin looked at the gauges, and everything looks fine.
They have to come down pit road and get a pair of channel locks and tighten that dude up, huh, Kyle?
Just a twist or two. That's all it needs.
I tell you what, he's getting a great run off the corners. He tries to get by McLaughlin. He is alongside. Down the front stretch by the line. See Glenn Allen, the 99 car, trying to follow Kevin LePage through. He did, and he did.
Glenn Allen started back in 25th position, so he has come in a hurry. The Luxair Chevrolet, the car number 99 that Benny was referring to. 1996 Busch Series Rookie of the Year.
That move put him up in the 12th spot.
Meanwhile, back up front, they're chasing this guy, the track year 4. Tommy Morgan, the crew chief on this Busch Grand National Series car for Jack Roush Racing and driver Jeff Burton. And this car has just absolutely been glued to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yes, he has. As he comes off the corner, he's trying to put a lap on. That's Mike Stefanik in the 96 car. And he pitted just a couple of laps ago. Stefanik did in the 96 car, so he's now 2 laps down. He gets 3 laps now.
There's Mark Martin, Winn-Dixie Ford.
He's 2 seconds behind the leader, almost 2 seconds. There's a slow car going in the pit road. Looks like Jimmy Foster, the Dr. Pepper car, was slow on the racetrack.
And the one thing about this racetrack, you see the groove is right dead on the bottom of the racetrack, or appears to be in the middle of the corner. This place has leaving pit road and coming into pit road. It has a totally separate area. There's a totally different road. So if you do have trouble, you just get down completely out of the racing groove, which kind of helps people continue.
And there we see Hermie Sadler, the DeWalt car, going by, trying to go by Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's AC Delco Chevy, and there's Buckshot in the Bear car, the 00, double nothing.
Hermie Sadler had a great run going here last year and broke a rocker arm with 25 laps to go. Ended up finishing 21st as Buckshot takes a brand new car they brought here to take the position away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. That is 6th spot.
Good. Good rhythm down.
Almost 40 laps complete here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
And as we go back up front, we see Jeff Burton come off the corner. That's Dale Shaw, the Universe car direct in front of him. And I tell you what, it's been pretty easy for Jeff Burton so far, Kyle, but right now, look up in front of him. The plowing is going to become very hard as he tries to go by these cars and lap them. And you know there's a lot of good cars there that do not want to go to a lap down.
Yeah, he's up lapping into the 35th, 36th position right now. But the thing is, he's had clean air to run in. And these cars are very, very aerodynamically sensitive right now. And he can catch a car, make his car push a little bit. Even as good as his car's driving and as good as his car's running, he's not really been able to check out on Nemechek or Mark Martin or any of those guys. He's leading, but he's not pulled away. So one little bobble or one little trouble catching somebody or getting around somebody, then everybody's going to catch up with him a little bit.
And, it almost looked like a moment ago that Nemechek and Mark Martin, the 2 cars that Bill Weber was commenting on that were tight and had a significant push. Those cars were starting to really mend just a little bit here after about 40 laps.
They appear to, and I think a lot of Winston Cup guys that haven't been here like myself are watching really close to see what the racetrack does. A lot of people complain about the cars being loose in practice. A lot of the Busch guys complain that the cars are loose. That they may have overcompensated and started with it tight and got a little tighter, or if the racetrack goes from tight to loose, you just don't know at the racetrack, and that's part of what the Busch races kind of help the Winston Cup guys from Sunday learn.
We might want to comment, it is exactly the same Goodyear tire that the Busch guys are running today that will run tomorrow in the Las Vegas 400. That's why the Winston Cup guys are so interested in what would happen. And, of course, fuel mileage. You heard Bill Weber comment how important that could be today. That could be critical tomorrow.
Yeah, I hate fuel mileage. I thought I was going to win a race last year, and fuel mileage killed me. But
that's why we mentioned it.
Yeah, I knew you did. I knew you was fixing it right there. But fuel mileage can be critical. And, like I said before, aerodynamics are important, but draft's not a factor here.
All right, 35 of 200 laps are complete. They're still chasing Jeff Burton in the car number 9 with Nemechek, Martin, Spencer, and Sadler in the top 5. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, taking a look at our field summary. Jeff Burton is the leader, but he is in heavy, heavy traffic, and Joe Nemechek is right on his bumper. There's the top 15, where they're running and where they started. 16 through 30, you see some of the cars that have tried to make their way towards the front. Robert Presley has gained 10 spots. He's in 28th after starting 38th. And the rest of our starting field of 43, there are still 33 cars on the lead lap.
Now, a moment ago, a few laps ago, I was talking about Jeff Burton approaching all that traffic. Well, folks, he is now in the middle of all that traffic. And there we see all the green grass right in the middle, all the desert around it. The green patch being the Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
And these beautiful shots from high above that facility, courtesy of the fine folks at Pennzoil at our Pennzoil Copter Camp. Mile-and-a-half facility, 104,000 seats, and they will all be full tomorrow for, whoa, a little bit of, just what Benny was talking about, a little bit of contact or near contact for our leader, the car number 9. That's the yellow and red numeral number 9, Jeff Burton in the middle.
As he's trying to get out, looks like 10 feet away.
I think in the middle of this mess, Mark Martin gets around Joe Nemechek.
Yeah, that's Mark Martin. He's trying to take the lead. There's Mark Martin on the outside trying to go by. It looks like his car runs on the outside better than these other cars. As Nemechek goes by, put Burton back to 3rd spot. And you'll Brad Loney, did he pit just a moment ago after they lapped him? You know, we saw that 45 car be lapped 4 or 5 laps ago, and there he still is. And he's so...
No, he didn't pit. I think that Mark Burton just had a tough time getting by Loney. It looks like Burton's car may have gotten a little bit loose.
Jeff Burton's car is certainly not, doesn't seem to be as good as it was a few laps ago.
And the cars that were tied at the beginning of the race, the 60 and the 87 of Martin and Nemechek, have come into their own, and Burton has started to backslide a little bit. There he is still in the picture as they are up behind the 14 car. They squeeze. That's Patty Moise.
Oh, there was some contact there. Oh, my goodness gracious. We won't be in that mess.
And somehow, Kyle, Mark Martin makes his way through. He's still got traffic in front of him.
I told you, there is no groove on this racetrack. You run wherever you're going to run. But it appears, you know, Martin moved to the high side and caught those guys run them down, and maybe the low groove has gone away and the groove is moving up. And because their cars are pushing a little bit, they can maybe ride it in and keep the RPMs up a little bit and drive it up off the corner straight.
That's Andy Santerre, the 47 car, the Monroe Motor car. These cars are trying to lap. They have lapped. He was beside Nemechek coming off the corner. Now Nemechek clears him, but now Mark still got heavy traffic to contend with.
I saw Joe Nemechek move that steering wheel more than I've seen anybody move it in a couple of days. He was really turning the steering wheel right and then left and then back to the right. They were going by Andy Santerre, indicating possibly is what you're talking about, Kyle. They're very, very high and having to work that traffic. Let's see if this time it's pretty steady.
Michael Walker just a moment ago, the Band-Aid car that these cars left there. He's on the very bottom. I'll tell you what, they've done a pretty good job getting through that traffic, Kyle.
Yeah, they cut through that part of it pretty quick. But I don't know, man. You look ahead of them, there's still 6 or 7 cars. Cars are spread out all around this racetrack now. So they're at a point where no matter where they're at, they're going to be catching traffic and trying to lap people on the outside. Joe's car goes in the corner fairly smooth. You can see he drifts on down. And these guys have moved back to the bottom. And their cars seem to be working fairly well. So I don't know how they caught the 9 car that quick and got around him on the outside.
And Tony Stewart and Michelle Pontiac, who has run so well the first 2 races of the year, about to be lapped by Mark Martin. Oh, and that spin crashed right in front of the leaders.
2 cars involved. That's the 85 of Shane Hall and possibly the 88 of Kevin Swan. Looks to be the 2 cars involved that contact exiting turn 1 into turn 2. There's the Ryder Chevrolet of Kevin Swan, a former Grand Prix World Motorcycle Champion. He comes to rest against the concrete wall and will try to get a hook to climb out. Shane Hall's car sits in the middle of the groove in turn 2 as they come racing back toward.
And you're looking at all these cars getting a lap back on Mark Martin. Brad Loney gets a lap back. Santerre gets a lap back. Blaze Alexander gets a lap back. Because Mark Martin realized where the problem was. He did not want to drive down in that corner that fast. We see Kevin Swan's leaned up against his car. This is probably as hard. Yes, there's no doubt. This is as hard as he's hit in his young stock car career.
Yeah, definitely in a car. He may have hit harder with a motorcycle or the ground at some point in time. But, you know, and Kevin, I really anticipated Kevin running really well here. He did such an incredible job at California last year. But you're so far away from the wall when something happens here. It's a long way to go, and you're going to bounce across the racetrack pretty hard.
Well, now he comes down across the racetrack and gets to the infield grass. There is the 85 car.
Good gracious, Kyle. Look at the back of that car.
The fuel cell is driven absolutely on top of the rear end housing right there.
See if we can see what happened.
Go down the corner and I can't tell.
Yeah, either they got together or one of the cars broke loose in front. The white car seemed to, either they got together going into the corner or the the 85 car, Shane Hall's car, broke loose and just took them both up the racetrack.
Now, we're told it happened right in front of the leaders. Here they are entering turn 1.
And they both dive for the bottom of the racetrack. Ray Dunlap?
Well, guys, what I'm hearing down here is the 88 car actually lost a wheel weight, and that gave him a handling problem, and that's what precipitated that big crash.
Wow.
All right, here are the leaders coming down pit road. Did you see that? As they will come down here at lap 48, Mark Martin and Joe Nemechek headed to Bill Weber.
And they have a long way to go, a very long pit road here at Las Vegas. Mark Martin is the very first pit to turn 1. Nemechek will pit directly behind him. This should be fuel and 4 tires for all of these leaders. Both Mark Martin and Joe Nemechek have complained about being tight. To the right side on Mark Martin's Winn-Dixie Ford, same for Nemechek. Martin gets a drink. Now they'll come around to the left side, putting fuel in. They'll change the left side tires on both the 60 car and on the Bell South Chevrolet. Lug nuts coming off, wheels coming off. Nemechek revving his engine. He's down and away. He'll beat Martin out of pit road. They clean the grill. Now Mark is on the pit road, followed by Jimmy Spencer, Burton Earnhardt, Herbie Sadler, and the 99 car.
All right, first pit stop of the day under caution here at lap 49 due to an incident up in turns 1 and 2. Let's see if we can see what Joe Nemechek saw that happened up in front of him in turn 1 a moment ago.
Boy, I tell you what. You know, folks, when you anticipate something that's going to hurt and it's going to be bad, you know how you kind of draw up or flinch? I bet you Joe Nemechek drew up. Don't you, Kyle?
Yeah,
when he saw all that smoke.
I'm going to bet all 4 of those drivers drew up, and they didn't know which way to go, and they held their lines, and fortunately the cars went to the high side, and they were able to get by.
And luckily they were not in all that heavy traffic we saw just a few laps ago where someone would run in the back of them when they backed off. Some heavy contact as we saw the rear bumper guard or... Man, Shane Hall's car is hurt.
The whole back end of Shane Hall's car, number 85, has been sheared away or actually just compressed in with that impact with the wall. As there, the race record crew, safety crews are working to try to clean up some of the fluid, and that's what's left of a Chevrolet Monte Carlo that was the Don Stegall on entry for Shane Hall. Under caution for the first time today here at lap 50, Joe Nemechek is the leader. Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada, the 2nd annual Sam's Town Las Vegas 300 NASCAR Busch Grand National Series event. Great crowd on hand today. Just to preview what you're going to see this weekend coming up with our coverage later tonight. Happy hour. There's part of the crowd. They had about 60,000 here last year for the Busch Series event, the inaugural Sam's Town Las Vegas 300. They probably have half again as many this year for the Busch Series event, and they are sold out for tomorrow as far as reserved seats. We're working caution. Having reports from the pits that possibly a vibration on the 88 car.
Hard to say. You know, we saw Brad Loney a moment ago race Mark Martin back to the line and beat him back to the line. Well, NASCAR officials has put Loney back a lap down. I don't understand that. Do you understand what happened there, Kyle?
No, that would have been, you know, I thought Loney beat him back to the line, but that was, it could have been a lot closer
yeah.
than what we thought it was. I thought he beat him back.
Once again, here's the reason we're under the caution flag. 88 car, Kevin Swantz, the Ryder Chevrolet, and Shane Hall in the 85 car. The white car, Shane Hall, make contact down in 1, and both cars extremely hard contact with the wall.
And we're told Tony Stewart's Shell Pontiac was right behind us. See if we can see in the Briggs and Stratton in car.
Yeah. It looks to me like Shane Hall just went in the corner and broke loose like the tire went flat or something, didn't it?
Yeah, it looked like that it really looked like the white car broke loose on top of the 88 on top of Kevin's car.
All right, here's Joe Nemechek and Mark Martin's viewpoint. Alexander in the 20 car had to be wondering, man, I hope they stay up high. I can't go left because I got 2 guys beneath me.
And we see the pace car taking the cars on a runoff area simply because there's so much work going on the racetrack and so much cleanup that they don't need those cars going by. And scaring those workers to death, so they are taking them around the inside of the racetrack. Good move.
Yeah, they had a problem here in the Southwest Tour race, or the Winston West race they ran here. Had a car wreck, leaked some fluid on the racetrack came apart. They weren't really getting cleaned up good.
All right, let's check in the pits. I think Bill is caught up with Kevin Swans. Bill?
And I have you just come out of the care center. That's a hard hit. Maybe your hardest?
Yeah, that's definitely the quickest I've ever stopped. It was just unfortunate. Me and the 85 car got together a little going into one, and there's nothing we could do. Once I got into him, I tried to stop, but we just went straight up to the wall together.
What happened there, Kevin?
I was looking underneath Shane there, going across the stripe, and felt like I had enough car underneath him, but I guess Shane said his spotter didn't let him know I was there, and he just went down to take his normal racing line. But that's part of racing. We're out there trying to keep from going a lap down so we can come in and make an adjustment, but it's just real disappointing for the team rider, Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
You're okay and Shane's okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll see you next week, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, we couldn't see that contact from that onboard camera, and that's the problem we're going to have at this racetrack when all these cars are trying to run on the very bottom of the racetrack. Someone goes in the corner, and when they dive down, get tapped in the left rear, they get backed in the fence like Shane Hall.
All right, Carl Simmons holding the yellow flag for the first time today here at lap 52 of 200. Joe Nemechek is the leader, still under caution. We'll be right back. Beautiful skies, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. What about this crowd for Busch Series racing action? Double it, and you're going to have the crowd we're going to see tomorrow for the NASCAR Winston Cup Las Vegas 400. How about action tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern Time? ESPN 2, RPM tonight. You can join Reese Davis for highlights and interview with the winner of this Sam's Town 300. Las Vegas 400 preview, and in the driver's seat with Rusty Wallace. That's tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, RPM tonight on ESPN 2. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
With Shane Hall, and you've come out of the care center, and you're okay.
Yeah, we're fine. I just wish our car was as good as we were, but we got behind there at the start. The NASCAR got us on an illegal start, what they called, and so we were kind of behind the 8 ball from the get-go, and wish we'd had a little better day for this Durshine Chevrolet.
Tell us your version of what happened out there, Shane.
Just racing, trying to stay from going another lap down, racing hard. You know, we were just all trying to get everything we could out of it, and undoubtedly the 88 got in there a little bit late, and the spotter didn't see it, and didn't let me know. We kind of turned down there and got together.
And we were talking just a minute ago how critical spotting is, and obviously he's a big help to you.
Yeah, the spotters are a big help to us, and like I said, this is a tough racetrack. You get a lot of times at the end of the straightaways, you know, you get a little bit of a run, you pull in there, and the spotter doesn't have time to tell you what's going on, but
He's gone.
you know, it's a big important job.
Green flag's out. Shane Hall's okay.
All right, that's good news. Restart lap 56. A caution out for the first time today for a total of 7 laps, and Joe Nemechek will lead him down into turn 1.
See Jimmy Spencer, number 12 car, is in 3rd spot. Jeff Burton is in 4th. That's the yellow car. That's Matt Hubbard, the 36 car, on the very bottom of the racetrack.
There's Robert Presley's Kingsford charcoal machine. The Pat Geschecter machine just slowed abruptly in turn 2 and now pulls out on the apron in turns 3 and 4.
And here we see Nemechek still come down, and Mark Martin gets shoveled back to the 4th spot. And here we are, and they're going up the crest. Oh, there's going to be some contact there, Matt. Don't turn left. There you go. I thought Matt Hunter was going to turn left, and Tracy Leslie was there.
Mark Green had gone all the way down to the inside, almost on the apron to miss that miss.
I thought Mark Green had trouble, and all of a sudden he passes 3 cars. I didn't know where he came from.
Buckshot Jones, 00. It's Elliott Sadler. That's 11th and 12th.
Elliott Sadler, as you mentioned, the team that won here last year with Jeff Green driving.
Jeff Purvis comes up right on the back bumper of Mike Cope. This is the Lance Snacks Chevrolet. James Finch's car as he tries to get by, closes up right on the back bumper of Cope. There's Randy LaJoy, the 74 car, the Phoenix Chevrolet, as he tries to find his way to the front. He's up to 15th spot. But man, look at him go by on the outside.
Randy LaJoy has been able to record 2 top 10 finishes thus far here, despite starting 22nd and 37th at Daytona and Rockingham, respectively.
Oh, this is a real shuffle here now.
You know, and everybody can run 2 and 3 wide. Look at Tony Stewart down on the flat going into 3. Everybody can run 2 and 3 wide because they're new tires. But the problem is they're using up the good out of their tires right now and really not making any progress on the leaders.
That's like chewing gum. The faster you chew, the quicker the flavor goes away.
Jeff Purvis trying to make a look inside of Dale Shaw in the Universe machine. Now high above. And that Pennzoil copter cam, we'll see if Purvis can now get out around the outside. They stack him up 2 wide behind Jeff Purvis. That is for position.
It's Matt Hutter on the outside, I think, that has got the outside line kind of jammed up. Now they're going to come 3 abreast. LaJoie comes right off the corner. He goes by Grubb and Hutter. And wow, here comes, are they going to be 4 abreast? Yes, sir. There we go.
Dale Jarrett is there. Dick Trickle is there.
Stan Barrett on the outside goes to the corner. On the outside of Dale Jarrett, the white car on the outside is Stan Barrett.
That's the white Rain Ford of Dale Jarrett, his first Busch car of the 1998 season. He's back there, being shown in 19th position.
Folks, we would show you the lead, but nothing happened to the lead like it is back here. As Tony Stewart says, what have I got myself into?
Average speed here, 160 miles an hour, and now Tony Stewart will look to the inside of Dale Jarrett as Jarrett slides high behind the Stanton Barrett car. Ed Barrier on the right, that's a 77 car. The Jimmy Means race machine from Lear. He's right in front of Matt Kenseth as the 44 now. Stewart tries to take the inside lane.
And here's Joe Besser, the 6 car, the power team car, who qualified so well, trying to work his way back to the front. He's currently back in 24th spot, started in 6th. Here she goes, 57 car, here's Palmer on the very bottom.
The power team machine you're talking about right behind Matt Kenseth.
It's so hard when these guys get too wide to know which lane to jump into and which lane not to jump into. You see LaJoie, he passes on the outside, he passes on the inside. Then all of a sudden they get 3 wide in front of him right here going in the first corner. Which lane do you choose? You don't know where anybody's going to go.
Well, Mike Tillman all the way down on the flat part of the racetrack, down on the apron to go beneath Jason Kellner there just a moment ago. Meanwhile, up front, Jimmy Spencer, the Zippo Chevy, is catching Joe Nemechek in the 87 car.
There you see the score pile on, 136 laps to go.
Jimmy Spencer, a 2-time winner in 1997, picking up wins at Bristol, Tennessee, and Charlotte Motor Speedway. 64 of 200 laps are completed as Nemechek, Spencer, Burton, Martin, and Earnhardt Jr. in the top 5. Back with more in a moment. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada. NASCAR Busch Grand National Series action. Action all over the racetrack. Phil Parsons in the car number 10 trying to make a move inside of Andy Santerre's car number 47.
Santerre's lap is open, but the 99, Glenn Allen, is not. Those 2 guys are battling for position. As Mark Green, also the 37 car behind these 2. That would be 7th, 8th, and 9th.
And we'll see if Glenn Allen can try the high side. He started back in the pack. 99 car starting back in 25th position. Now running in 8th spot. We saw Robert Presley pull in a moment ago to the garage area, and Ray Dunlap is caught up with him. Ray?
Well, Jerry, I ran over here to find out what was wrong with the Kingsford Charcoal Chevrolet, but I figured it out because there's a transmission laying on the floor. What happened, Robert?
Yeah, we had trouble at the start of the race, you know. Couldn't get up to speed there, and then we got out going there and picking cars off one at a time. Had a great pit stop, and just got ready to start back. This transmission come out of high gear, so we just had a bad day. You know, this Kingsford's match line 360 Communication Monte Carlo is running good today, and thought we had something for him, but we won't get to it today.
You're not going to be able to get back in at all?
Yeah, we'll get back in, but you know, there ain't much we can do. We can be about like going to Vegas. All we can do now is show.
Well, good luck. Robert Presley.
All right, a long face in the Busch Series garage. Number 37, the Timberwolf machine of Mark Green. And on the inside, Mark showing the top 10 in the point standings, currently 8th overall based on a 14th place finish at Daytona and a 9th place run at Rockingham.
Kyle, I tell you what, this inside groove is just not working that well, is it? Those guys are really struggling passing on the inside.
You know, and I don't know if it's because they can't go in the corner as hard or if they're not picking up the throttle as quick or what it is, but the guys that get down on the inside, this is a really good place. You can put yourself in position to pass, but like I said before, to get around somebody and clear it, it's pretty tough. And, you know, these guys are getting down there, but their cars are just not working good enough to get around everybody.
Well, the guy they're chasing right now, Joe Nemechek in the car number 87, stretching it out on Jimmy Spencer. Now, Nemechek told me this is the exact same car. It's the exact same engine that he won with, not only at Homestead at the end of last year, but at Daytona in the opener of 1998. They just took this particular plate engine, changed a few things, and put it back in the car, and they're running it here. So obviously they've got some engineering that works for that team.
Obviously, they've got something, and I guess they go by the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and they're just going to run it until it lays down on them.
There we see the third place car, Jeff Burton. And you see he's led all three of the NASCAR Busch Series races they've had this year. The next car in line is the fourth place car. That's the Winn-Dixie Ford. And look how far back he is, folks. That's how far back. I'll tell you in just a second as he goes by the line. Our computer will reprogram. That's 6 1/4 seconds behind the leader, Joe Nemechek. And Earnhardt Jr. doing a great job.
Well, his 12th Busch Grand National start, his third of 1998. So the only time he'd ever been to Vegas, that came out here last November at the SEMA show and announced that he would drive that car number 3. That one there, the AC Delta machine for Dale and Teresa Earnhardt. And as you watch him, Dale Earnhardt Jr. running a solid 5th. Let's check in at his pits with Bill.
Hey, Jerry, you know how there's always a lot of controversy about whether or not Winston Cup guys should race against the Busch guys in the Busch Series, taking their points, sometimes taking their prize money. Well, last week, Tony Stewart said he learned a lot when he got passed by Max Kenseth on the last lap of that race. But in the pit notes this week, he said he learned more by following Mark Martin around on the racetrack. He learned from the Winston Cup veterans. Right now, it's Earnhardt Jr. that is following that same teacher around this big track.
Sort of like going to school on a putt, I guess, if you're a golfer. And Golly's pretty much following that line.
You know, he couldn't be following anybody better unless he was following his daddy around this place, probably. But as many races as Mark's won, but he's just in the same tire tracks. He's putting the car exactly where Mark, and he's the first Busch driver in the rundown. If you go Nemechek, Spencer, Burton, then Mark Martin, and then Earnhardt, it looks like a Winston Cup deal, but he's the first Busch regular driver to be running up there.
Yeah, the first 4 all the NASCAR Winston Cup drivers, and the next 6 all run the NASCAR Busch Series on a regular basis. And he is running in the very tracks of Mark Martin. You know, you think he's drafting, but right now he just wants to see that groove that Mark Martin is using and see what his car feels like. Is this the right place to be on the racetrack? And it certainly looks like it is for him.
Well, that's just a shadow of exactly how to go to school, how to learn. Watching Mark Martin's car and also watching him work traffic as Martin moves in on one car.
It's Jimmy Foster there. Oh, he's going to go for the pass for the spot. That will put him in 4th spot. No, he said, I think I'll get right up close, see what it feels like when I'm just a few inches from Mark Martin. That's Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 3 car. We saw him go by the Jimmy Foster car just a moment from our Pennzoil copter can. And I told you that Foster had made a pit stop earlier. I was told that ignition box went bad. They changed that. And he's back on the racetrack. Bill Weber?
Let's check in the pits with Bill Weber.
And getting back to the Mark Martin-Dale Earnhardt situation, Earnhardt continues to follow him, but Mark has told his crew his Ford is loose in and awfully tight off. They're going to try and fix that with an air pressure adjustment, but that might open the door for Earnhardt to make the pass.
So if he's loose in, Kyle, he don't want that 3-car back there.
He didn't want that 3-car anywhere as close as that 3-car was a minute ago. You know, and the problem is when it's a little loose in, you say, oh, man, I really need to drive away from this guy. But you can't drive away from him because it takes your breath getting in the corner. So, you know, that's about as close as Mark wants Dale Jr. to be right now.
All right, you are watching the battle for 4th position, Mark Martin and Dale Earnhardt Jr. But up front, the leader continues to be front row Joe Nemechek, the 1992 NASCAR Busch Grand National Series champion, showing the way in Las Vegas in his Bell South Chevy. Back in Las Vegas, Nevada, riding along with our leader, Joe Nemechek, in the Bell South Chevrolet, looking out the rear of his bumper cam as he goes by another car and puts him a lap down. He hasn't dodged bullets, but he has dodged some race cars today. Look at this big pack, and Nemechek has to jump on the binders as they're 3 wide, and then cars spinning to his right. He backs out of the throttle and somehow gets by unscathed. Those have been the close calls for our leader, Joe Nemechek. As we are 84 laps into this 200-lap, 300-mile event at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Sam's Town Las Vegas 300.
Right now, Joe Nemechek has a 2.5-point lead over Jimmy Spencer. Never see Nemechek go by Patty Moise, the Rhodes Furniture Ford. It's Patty that tries to close in on the back bumper of Joe. Follow him as they go by Matt Hutter. Oh boy.
And the 4-car right in the middle of Lance Snack Chevy for Jeff Purvis. Shown in 16th position. That is Purvis. You're riding along with him. The Lance Snacks in-car camera. The Link Belt Chevrolet right in front of him.
And Wayne Grubb in the 83 car.
Late model stock car driver from Virginia. There is a look at Jeff. Driving for James Fitch. Was the lead of that draft you saw flash by a moment ago. The 66 car, he was in 10th spot. This is all 4 position. The 83 car in front of this machine is in 15th spot. Purvis is 16th.
You know, some of these guys at the beginning of the race made some pretty decent progress. And then after the first round of pit stops, I don't know if they adjusted themselves away a little bit or which way they've gone. But Purvis and a couple of these guys were running up right on the border of being in the top 10, and now they're borderline being 15th to 20th.
Here is Tony Stewart's Pontiac, the Shell Pontiac. At the car you see coming at him, that is the leader, Joe Nemechek.
And we can see that it will not take Joe Nemechek long as he just drives her down in the corner and closes in 5 or 6 car lengths. Doesn't seem to be too bad off the corner. Nemechek does gain a couple of car lengths, but watch as he goes down the corner as he drives in and gains that 5. What can he drive in that corner?
Wow. And Tony knows that he's so much faster, he just pulls over and lets him have the line and go and go.
Well, Tony was the last car on the lead lap in 27th spot. Now being shown a lap down as 26 cars are on the lead lap.
And check who is the fastest car that last time by. The number 9 car. Oh, crash!
That is Mike Cope in the Slim Jim Chevrolet. As he comes across in the grass, tags the inside concrete, and that car skitters to a halt on the apron of the racetrack. That is in turn 3.
Big hit right there. That was a big hit.
Bringing out caution for the second time today.
And we see Tony Stewart trying to get a lap back.
And he will get it back.
That's twice he's been saved and got his lap back.
And there the safety crews on their way out to check on Mike Cope.
Man, he hit that wall hard.
You can see some movement. He's moving around in there.
Mike, a two-time All-Pro champion, 1994, 1996, running for Rookie of the Year this year in the Busch Series.
Tell you what, those guys, those rescue workers, pretty doggone nervy to go out there with those cars still going on the racetrack.
See if we can see what may have happened to Mike.
He comes off the corner, and right there, just as he goes up the racetrack, thinks he's clear of the car behind him, just gets clipped and just turns him in this. Watch this, folks. Oh, hard wall. Contact with that inside wall.
Yeah, the car never looked like it slowed down, you know, and it's just a pretty solid hit right there.
Now let's see if we can listen and hear.
Wow.
All right, from high above, the Pennzoil copter cam angle.
Is that the 89 car of Stanton Barrett that's right behind him? It looks like it's a white car. Mike thought he was clear of him, came up and just got a touch. Car looked like the rear tires got off the ground, didn't it, Kyle? He was backing down through there?
Just a little bit, it looked like, but he was off in the grass, and it kept it drugged down a little bit.
Hopefully that car not sliding back up across a racetrack in front of oncoming traffic. There is Mike Cope, one of the early favorites for Rookie of the Year in the Busch Series, but sort of struggling at the beginning of this year. He had trouble with Rockingham, not of his own doing. An engine from another car blew right in front of him during practice. They lost their primary car. Had to go to a backup car and run the Atlanta car at Rockingham. He was involved in a first lap accident at Daytona, so not a great beginning in 1998, including this incident right here. To bring out the latest caution flag at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Slim Jimmy, ouch, into the concrete retaining wall. As we are under caution here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Back with more live Busch Series action in a moment.
Hey, no, down here. Instead of running out for stamps, shouldn't you be running your business? Imagine a simpler way. Get the personal post office from Pitney Bowes. Send mail without ever going out for stamps. Just weigh, punch in the postage, and voila. Professionally metered mail and no wasted postage. You can also add a personal message to get your mail noticed. And postage refills by phone in 30 seconds, day or night. Now listen up, because here's what you'll get. Besides a lot more time.
You'll get the personal post office and money-saving electronic scale.
So there's no wasted postage.
For a 90-day free trial.
Free is good.
You'll also get the mail marketer software.
Create really nifty direct mail to help your business grow.
Call now for your 90-day free trial, and you'll also get our mail marketer software absolutely free.
Now watch your business grow. Hey, I look good in red.
Call now and get all this for a 90-day free trial.
The personal post office, mailing made simple.
It's championship week, and Compton's foes clash. At 7:30, Tyron Lue and the Huskers are playing for a date at the Big Dance. First, they have to dodge the Cyclones. Then at 9:30, the Lobos, the Utes. The winner is one step closer to the top of the WAC Mountain Division. Championship week presented by 7-Up. Nebraska, Iowa State at 7:30. New Mexico, Utah at 9:30. Tonight on ESPN.
Our Speed Road coverage of the Sam's Town Las Vegas 300 is being brought to you by the more than 750 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By Walmart, always low prices, always Walmart. And by Quaker State Motor Oil. For what you drive and the way you drive it, the choice is clear. Well, cleanup has been completed over in turn 3, and the pits will be open this time by, as we have close to 100 laps. In fact, 92 laps have been completed. And here comes the leader, Joe Nemechek down pit road, and Jimmy Spencer, Jeff Burton, and others in tow. At 45 miles an hour. Speed on the racetrack for the pace car will be 50, but they will make them run 45 as they head to Jimmy Spencer's pits and Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, Jimmy Spencer is on his way in. They're going to take 1 pound of air pressure out of the right front. Corey Stott, the crew chief, called him and said, do you want to take a rubber out of there? He said, no way. It takes too much time. The only way we're going to win this race is get by Nemechek by having a good pit stop. We'll see how it goes this time. They're halfway down pit road, and Jimmy Spencer will be the first one to hit his pits as Nemechek and Burton go all the way down. Spencer is here in the zip Bo Chevrolet, they're going to put on 4 tires. Down the track is the 9 car, the track gear of Jeff Burton. They're going to go with 4 tires also to Bill Weber.
And the race leader, Joe Nemechek, sits in his pit stall. They will not make any changes to this car. You look at the triple pits, the 87, the 12, and the 9. Nemechek's car has been perfect. He told them, don't touch a thing. So we'll get 4 Goodyear Eagles and fuel. A quick stop. He's out. Buckshot Jones right behind him, followed by Burton. Mark Martin still sits in his pit, working all that rear. Spencer is away. Then it's Hermie Sadler, the 3 and the 60.
So those 3 you were watching in that triple split pit stop, 20 seconds even for Joe Nemechek's crew. They changed 4 tires. Now the car is headed back onto the racetrack. Second caution flag today here, just 7 laps shy of halfway. And here are the cars that are a lap down. NASCAR rules dictate if you are 1 lap down or more, you cannot pit the first time by. So these cars, that's the Rose Machine Xena Warrior Princess colors on the 14 car, Patty Moise. She will lead other cars down. There's Andy Santerre, as they will head down pit road for their service.
What you're seeing today, the Busch cars have to exit the pits on the inner loop and come into the pits on the inner loop. The rules are totally different for the Winston Cup tomorrow, so I don't know how that's going to be.
All right, still working caution, second time today. We'll take a break and come back with more green flag racing action as some of the Winston Cup guys are watching as well.
This is Mission Control. We have a rotational shutdown. Copy?
Houston, you have a problem. Stand by.
When you need a grip on life's little challenges, get a grip on Channel Lock.
This is Mission Control. Thanks, guys. Nice pliers.
In our quest for the finest brakes in the world, we tested our pads against other leading brands. With pad after pad, in test after test, the results were always the same. No other brand stopped shorter than Performance Friction Carbon Metallic, the ones we stock at AutoZone.
Since we switched to Quaker State Motor Oil, we've been very successful. So when my crew chief said,
check it out, Jeff. 3 new synthetics from Quaker State.
Why change a good thing?
Different engines can need different protection. Quaker State knows that.
Well, we tested them. And guess what? Now we're winning with the same oil you can buy at the store.
Quaker State. The choice is clear.
How do you prove you're the king of college hoops? Just log on to ESPN.com and enter the tournament challenge presented by Pizza Hut on ESPN Sports Zone. Fill out your brackets, and you can win a trip for 2 to the 1999 Men's Championship. The tournament challenge on ESPN Sports Zone. Sign up now!
Back in Las Vegas Motor Speedway, riding along with the Big A Auto Parts in-car, Mike Stefanik, the 1997 NASCAR Featherlight Modified Tour and Busch North Series champion. So take a look at our field summary. Joe Nemechek's the leader, but Benny Parsons, look at Buckshot Jones.
He was running 11th place, came in, changed 2 tires, and you can see just what changing 2 tires versus 4 does for you all the way up to 2nd spot. And see, Randy LaJoy back in 11th spot. He was running 19th, did the same thing, moved up to 11th spot.
All right, great pit work, 16 through 30. You see there are 26 cars. Ed Barrier, the last car on the lead lap, just in front of Jeff Krogh. Krogh, Fedewa, Leslie, and Waltrip. Michael Waltrip a lap down. The remainder of the 43-car starting field.
Kevin Swanson, Shane Hall, 2 cars involved in a heavy crash down in turn 1 just a few moments.
And to remind you, tomorrow, our live flag-to-flag coverage of the inaugural Las Vegas 400 on ABC Sports. Dale Earnhardt won the Daytona 500 after 20 years of trying. Can he get his second win in 1998? We'll find out as we drop the green flag at 2:30 Eastern time tomorrow on ABC. Getting ready for a restart, our buddy Kyle Petty, you had a great qualifier run. Starts 14th tomorrow in the Hot Wheels Pontiac.
Gone.
tires on the depth. I tell you what, Jeff Burton knows if this thing goes green for the next 100 laps, he needs to get by Buckshot as quickly as possible if he's going to stay up with the 87 car. Savage in the wall car, the yellow car on the outside, 29, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Earnhardt Jr. is back in 6th spot. That's about as far back as he's been today.
Trying to make a move on Sadler in 5th. Aaron Leverchin. Jones in row, Buckshot Jones. Jeff Burton is 3rd. 4th is Spencer, 5th is Sadler. Rookie contender Mike Cope. You saw him climb out of the car, and now our Ray Dunlap has caught up with him, right?
Well, Jerry, the really good news is Mike's okay, but the car's definitely not.
Yeah, the car's hurt pretty bad. Just unfortunate for the Slim Jim guys. You know, these guys have been working really hard to get me good race cars. And we made all 3 events by virtue of qualifying for them, and you know, things like this just keep happening to us, and eventually, you know, our luck's got to turn around. I guess somebody was out there and got the right report on the car. All over from there.
As a rookie in this series, it's a pretty sharp learning curve.
Yeah, yes, it is. It's not as much give and take, I guess.
Mike Cope was in the wall a little bit ago, and the 50 car, Jimmy Foster, just made some contact. He'll head to pit road.
Just a moment ago, indeed, he's came all the way across the racetrack in turn 2, and you see the contact on the right rear of the Dr. Pepper machine. Let's see if we can see what happened.
He goes to the corner, and looks like he just gets the loose stuff, doesn't he, Kyler?
It looked like he just gets in the loose stuff here, and he gets up into the wall, but as the car kind of comes in, it looks like there's stuff running out of it. So, you know, I don't know if it blew a hose off and he got in his own water a little bit. He's so far up the racetrack, there could be a lot of fluid. If you saw him, if you continued that shot on a little bit as he came down pit road, there was stuff running everywhere, so maybe they want to check the track.
Well, indeed, NASCAR agrees with both you and Benny. Kyle Petty, as Carl Simmons gets him the halfway, and the backup flagman waves the caution flag as we are under caution for the 3rd time today, halfway home in Busch Series action.
The problem with most home equity lenders is no equity means no loan. That's because they only let you borrow up to 80% of the value of your home. But at First Plus, you can borrow up to 125% of the value of your home. So even with no equity, you can still consolidate bills, make home improvements, or even get some extra cash. Just call 1-800-510-PLUS. You'll get an answer before you hang up. First Plus, no equity is no problem. So call 1-800-510-PLUS.
If you're trying to keep warm with a furnace over 15 years old, you must have money to burn. No?
Luxair.
A new Luxair high-performance gas furnace could save you up to 30% on your energy bills. Thanks to Luxair's high-efficiency technology, dependable, affordable comfort comes from Luxair. Call your Luxair dealer and catch the NASCAR 99 Luxair Chevy in all the Busch Grand National Series races.
Phone Patrol from 1-800-COLLECT.
Attention, citizens! I've got big news! 1-800-COLLECT is now 10 cents a minute every evening.
Whoa, 10 cents a minute. That's cheap.
Yep, 1-800-COLLECT. You'll save so much you can buy a new hairstyle, Sonny.
I never thought collect calling could be so inexpensive.
Isn't saving money fun?
1-800-COLLECT, 10 cents a minute every evening, all week long.
Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, under caution for the 3rd time today due to an incident up in turn 2 involving the Dr. Pepper machine of Jimmy Foster.
Here's what happened. He was going down in the corner. We'll follow with Tony Stewart as he comes off the corner. Here's the car we're talking about. That's Jimmy Foster. As he comes off the corner, Kyle Petty noticed that a lot of smoke coming out of the back of the car. We expect some smoke where it's revving the tires, but look at the smoke coming out of the very rear of the car. And see the trail on the racetrack the car is leaving, so obviously something broke. And look at this. Look at all this shiny spot up there. That's all oil, all water, oil, water, something. And as we follow this car down onto pit road, that's when we really noticed the stuff. Look at all that trail he's leaving.
Watch him waving his hand to Tony Stewart and the cars behind him, indicating he's slowing down. Stewart going by, and NASCAR wisely putting out the caution flag with all that fluid on the racetrack to try to get the track cleaned up.
And those two camera angles were a good example. Sometimes you can see that all, but when the sun's not reflecting just right, you can't see anything, and they want to clean it up for everybody. There it is, big time.
Look at that. Wow.
Boy, it's all over the racetrack. Let's check in the pits with Bill Weber.
Jerry, what a run today for Hermie Sadler. We all know about the disappointment he's had the last few years. His own team really wasn't that successful. This year he moved to Diamond Ridge. He's teammates with his brother. The car he is driving today is brand new. The first time it ever saw a racetrack was yesterday morning when it jumped on the track for practice. Right now, he's currently running in 5th place on the leaderboard. His brother Elliott is also having a good run. In fact, Elliott had pushed his way to the front, but during the first round of pit stops, they had to make a huge chassis adjustment. He fell back in the field, then had another good pit stop, and he's also running in the top 10. He's currently 8th. And I think this is something you're going to see this year. These two Sadler boys running very well in these Busch races. They're not only brothers, but they're teammates. They're sharing a lot of information, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see them both in victory lane in the first few races of the 1998 Busch season.
Boy, indeed, a great day for the brothers and a great day for the Air Force. I mean, we are right adjacent to the Nellis Air Force Base. Got to give a call to the 57 OSS Air Traffic Control Squadron at Nellis Air Force Base. They're the folks that have the dubious task of trying to regulate not only those planes taking off, but the helicopters and the blimps, the C-130s, the fighter aircrafts that are coming in. We almost have like a 24-hour air show here throughout the day. And if you're not watching cars on the racetrack, you're watching the fighters overhead and the other aircraft taking off from Nellis. And there's fighters on the ground at Nellis Air Force Base, adjacent just about a half a mile from where we are here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 15 miles north of the show capital of the world. Back with more in a moment.
Michael came onto the scene in IndyCars as a winner. I'm very proud of the fact that he's carrying on the Andretti name. I'll never forget the first really competitive pass that he did on me. We banged wheels a little bit, and he was gone. Adios, Dada.
The Andrettis rely on the same Haviland Formula 3 motor oil you can buy right off the shelf.
That's my boy.
And for your cooling system, get Haviland Extended Life Antifreeze.
Our new cars are here.
I'm on my way.
Once in a lifetime, something so special comes along that even the NASCAR champions race to get them.
I've been waiting for these.
Now you can collect the die-cast cars that these NASCAR champions collect. Racing Champions presents NASCAR's 50th Anniversary Collectible Gold Series.
Better get your hands on them
before we get them all.
Racing Champions NASCAR Gold and the new Signature Driver Series die-cast collectibles. Available at your favorite retailer.
All those stories you hear about how good it was and how much fun we had and how young we all used to be, about how much it all mattered and how much we all cared and how no one has ever done it higher or faster or harder or better. All those stories you hear, they're all true.
Big weekend of coverage coming your way from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Tonight, happy hour, 11 o'clock Eastern time. And then tomorrow, it all begins with RPM today at 1:30 Eastern, followed by NASCAR today at 2 o'clock Eastern time. And then Dale Jarrett will lead him down as our live flag-to-flag coverage on ABC Sports of the inaugural NASCAR Winston Cup Las Vegas 400. That's coming up at 2:30 Eastern time on ABC. And here's our defending Busch Series champion on pit road. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
Jerry, just something to keep in mind here. We have 104 laps now on the leaderboard, and here in the Busch Series, they do regulate tire usage. In this race, the teams only get to use 3 sets under yellow, so they only have 1 set left. There have been 2 rounds of caution flag pit stops. Everybody has used 1 set each time, so they burned 2 of their 3 sets. It's something to keep in mind. If we get a caution in about 26 laps, some guys will have to make a decision. A lot of guys might come in, some guys might stay out. They might want those fresher tires tires later in the race. Randy LaJoie has been on pit road. Right now, Tony Stewart is on pit road. Some guys taking advantage of this opportunity to stop. Still a long way to go in this race. Let's go down pit road to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Bill, there's another tire story here in Jimmy Spencer's pits. Right beside him is Jimmy Foster's Dr. Pepper team, and they're out of the race. So the team ran over and said, look, we need to buy a set of brand new sticker tires from you. So they got the tires from the 50 car just in case they need sticker tires. Now, right now, they've got scuff tires here for the last pit stop, but Jimmy Spencer's on stickers now, and we'll see after the green flag how well they run. They do have options to either use in scuffs or brand new tires.
All right, Bill makes a very good point. There may be some decisions to be made if there's a caution in the next 20 laps. Only one set of tires remaining for a lot of teams under caution due to Busch Grand National rules. Back with the green flag in just a moment. Anyway, still 95 laps remaining in this Sam's Town Las Vegas 300. Now, the highlights of today's action, well, there have been 3 caution flags. It all began with a 2-car scramble down in turns 1 and 2. Shane Hall and Kevin Swant's hard impact. Both cars having retired. And watch this one, the Slim Jim machine. Chevy. That's Mike Cope. And then a moment ago, heavy smoke out of the back of the Dr. Pepper Ford of Jimmy Foster. Those are the 3 caution flags brought out today at 105 laps complete. Our field summary, Joe Nemechek, who started on the outside of row 1 as our leader. Jeff Burton, Jimmy Spencer, Buckshot Jones, and Hermie Sadler in the top 5.
We see 16 through 30 led by Joe Bessie. 26 cars on the lead lap. Michael Walton, the first car lap down. And there we see 31 through 43, just 4 cars out of the race so far today.
Robert Presley back in 41st spot. They were changing a transmission. Take a look at Carl Simmons, the Busch Series flagman, indicating that we will have the green flag next time by. Holding one finger up, they will wave the green in a lap. Third event of 1998 for the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series. Next week we go to Atlanta Motor Speedway for a triple header, which should be exciting. We got ARCA, Busch, and Winston Cup, Benny.
ARCA race is on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. These same Busch cars will compete at the Atlanta Motor Speedway on Saturday, and then Sunday the NASCAR Winston Cup guys. And Kyle, will they run 197 in qualifying at Atlanta this time?
I'm not sure the Winston Cup cars will with the 5-5 rule, but I'm going to tell you something. That ARCA race was one of the most incredible races I've ever seen, anywhere, anytime, any place. The last lap coming out of turn 4 last year, so I look for 3 good races in Atlanta next week.
And we have been told, as you see our schedule in Atlanta next weekend, that there are still some pretty good seats available in Atlanta. They've added more and more seats to Atlanta Motor Speedway. And don't forget about what's going to happen, the Prime Star 500 next Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern on ABC Sports from Atlanta Motor Speedway. So a huge weekend coming up next weekend in Atlanta.
But meanwhile, we got to get through this weekend and determine who is going to win. Is it going to be Joe Nemechek, Jeff Burton, Jimmy Spencer? How about Hermie Sadler? How about tomorrow's race? Can Kyle Petty pull it up?
I'm watching Buckshot right now to see how those 2 tires work. That's what I'm trying to learn.
I'm sure you and a lot of other folks in that Winston Cup garage are very interested in what 2 tire changes will do late in the race tomorrow.
We'll see those cars go through an oil drive. The guys back about 10th to 15th spot can't even see where they're going. And we see there's a battle as Hermie Sadler gets passed by Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That was a battle for 5th position as Earnhardt Jr. has gone beneath the car of Sadler. Nemechek the leader. Jeff Burton in 2nd spot. Spencer is 3rd. Buckshot Jones 4th. Earnhardt is 5th. Earnhardt Jr. There's Jeff Purvis. That's in 14th spot.
There's Stanton Barrett that he's following. I wonder what he saw a few moments ago when he drove through that oil drive. Watch these cars just... Cal, these guys can see nothing as you look down the backstretch.
It's like driving in fog at 160 miles an hour. Wow. Not knowing what's happening in front of you.
Or snow.
Or snow. I've been there this week. I don't want to talk about that.
This group all clustered together back in the pack. them back.
As they have been all day. No one can seem to get that advantage. Bill Parsons in the 10 car trying to work his way back, following Joe Bessie. Mike McLaughlin, the 34 car on the outside. Jeff Purvis in the 4, the Lance car, as they follow Tracy Leslie. And look at that sun. Look, where'd he go?
How in the world does he see about a foot off the bumper of a car at 160 miles an hour?
What compounds that problem a little bit is all that dust that was on the backstretch. These windshields are electric, create that static electricity, and the dust just attracts to it. And we saw during a couple of the pit stops, these guys were scrubbing those windshields like your mother used to wash behind your ears, man. You hate it, but that's the way it was.
And watch as he drives to that sun again. And we see the tape on the windshield as Jeff Purvis looks out. That's one thing that they can do, shade the windshield, so later in the day the sun is not as big a problem. And Tony Stewart, I'm told, just brushed the wall. We see some smoke out of the right rear.
Last week's runner-up at Rockingham, riding along with the Briggs & Stratton in-car, and he obviously is slowing down and will bring his Pontiac toward pit road. A lot of smoke to the right side from beneath that car. Rookie of the Year contender driving for Joe Gibbs. He was being shown back on the lead lap in 25th position. See if we can see what may have happened to him just a moment ago.
See the damage to the right side of the car as he comes off the corner.
He's got a little bit of push in the car, and as it takes off behind those guys, there's just nothing to hold it down.
Let's check in with Ray Dunlap.
Guys, they got the big hammers out. They're going to have to beat out the fender wells here and put on some tires on the right side to try to get Tony Stewart back out there. The team takes a look right now. The right side jack goes up. They're going to put right side tires on. The fuel is going in. The car was almost full, so it didn't need very much fuel, but they're going to have to beat those fenders out to try to get him back in the race.
Brian Frazier and the crew there, the Shell crew, trying to get the car, and the 48 car of Dale Shaw gets high and begins to slow.
Looks like he's back up to speed now.
May have gotten up on high, got a little bit loose. The UniFirst Uniforms machine, former Busch North Series champion.
Let's see if we can see what happened to Dale Shaw. We see him down the corner on the bottom of the racetrack. And the 6 car and the 17 almost make contact. And he gets a little bump from the 83 car of Wayne Grubb. And I'll tell you what, that was pretty doggone scary. Look at some contact between Blaze Alexander. I think it was Mark Croker went by on the inside. Wow.
All going for the same hole.
All right, Jeff Burton trying to see if he can possibly reel in Nemechek, who's been awfully stout today. There's Jimmy Spencer back in 3rd spot. Chevrolet, Ford, and Chevrolet in the first 3 spots here at Busch Grand National Competition with 115 laps complete.
Buckshot still hanging in there in 4th spot, Kyle.
Still hanging in there in 4th. And a lot of people are watching this because in practice this morning, and as they said, as Bill and those guys talked about, Ray talked about earlier, tire wear was all of a sudden. Everybody thought tire wear was not going to be a concern. But after the Winston Cup practice, the Busch guys were concerned about their tires. So, you know, if Buckshot can 2-tire it, then that may change some of the strategy for the rest of this race and tomorrow.
Buckshot, of course, in the Aquafresh Pontiac. Billy Jones, his father, owns the team. Ricky Pearson, the crew chief.
Have we seen the 29, the car of Hermie Sadler and Dale Earnhardt. I'm sorry, Mark Martin. I had Dale Earnhardt on my mind because I saw Dale Jr. just a moment ago dive under someone. Here's with Andy Santerre they dove under.
That is for 6th and 7th. We check in once again with Bill.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Benny. It was Andy Santerre. In fact, they wanted by Santerre. They felt he was clearly holding up Earnhardt, but Earnhardt could not get by. They sent a person over the wall to talk to the Busch official, and Dale worked his way by. But I know why you had Earnhardt on the mind, because I was pretty close there for a minute.
These 2 cars battle for 6th and 7th. They've just gone by Michael Waltrip, and now Mark Martin will try to take the 6th spot away. Best seat in the house for the Band-Aid driver, Michael Waltrip, right behind him, trying to see who's going to follow.
Michael NASCAR didn't run that well at the first of the race, but right now he's running right here with the 5th and 6th place guy, just sticking straight with him.
It looks like track position, Kyle, is so doggone important. Michael Waltrip, as you said, did not run that well. He was lapped pretty early, but just as he was lapped, the caution flag came out. So he's made his pit stops, and he's always been back up with the lead pack. And as you said, he's able to run with them if he's there. If he's mired back in the pack, he probably would have trouble getting through the pack.
Yeah, he would be back there with that crowd that's running somewhere between 14th and 20th that just keeps shuffling positions and not really making much progress.
As you watch this battle, our AutoZone race recap shows you that Joe Nemechek is the leader. He's led 78 of 119 laps. There have been 4 lead changes, 3 cautions for a total of 19 laps. That's why the average speed is down to 116.185 miles per hour. Our lap leaders, Joe Nemechek, Jeff Burton, and Mark Martin led 8 laps. Out of race, Mike Cope, Jimmy Foster, Kevin Swantz, and Shane Hall, the principals in our 3 caution flags of the day. There were 8 cautions last year for 47 of 200 laps. We have had just 3 cautions thus far here in 1998.
We saw Mark get around Herman and was kind of checked out a little bit. That last lap by Mark was probably the 2nd fastest car on the racetrack. And we ought to just make mention that this is the first time I've seen Mark out of the top 5 in 100 years in a Busch race. So you might as well just mark this one down on the calendar.
This will go down as history.
Very, very rare, and the car Mark is driving today that he won 5 out of 6 events last year. Speaking of experience, here comes DJ Dale Jarrett, who's the pole sitter for Mars Winston Cup event in the White Rain Ford, and there comes the Duralube machine of Phil Parsons with him, trying to get by Mike McLaughlin.
Right now, Dale Jarrett will be running in 14th, McLaughlin 15th, and 16th.
DJ will run probably 14 Busch Series events in 1998. His son Jason will run 17, so they will combine to run the full 31 race schedule. This is the first start of the season for Dale. Trying to make a run. That's this time on the inside of Mike McLaughlin. Off of turn 2.
Dale Jarrett, look how he closes up right on the back bumper of the 99 car. Glenn Allen and also the 4 car. Jeff Purvis, and look at DJ. Whoa, that was close. He tried to dive under the 99 about the time Glenn Allen turned left.
That is 12th, 13th, and 14th on your screen. The 4, 99, and 32.
And there's 3 different cars and 3 entire different lines. Each one of them a little bit higher than the other. And see, DJ on the outside has that outside position on Glenn Allen, the Luxair car. Makes the pass.
Dale's car in the last 6 or 7 laps, it seemed to come into its own. He really found the groove a bit, and he's checking up, passing them on the outside.
Started back in 23rd position today in the White Rain machine.
They've obviously made some changes that really agreed to that 32 car. And watch it just blows by Purvis.
That will be for 11th spot. Now he will set his sights on Stanton Barrett. That's Jeff Crow, that car right in front of him.
Checking out the speeds the last time by, and we see that the 2nd place car was faster than the leader. And here we go. Phil Parsons trying to get by Glenn Allen and Jeff Purvis. He's able to get by Purvis, but that decision with Glenn Allen is still up in the air.
See, Mark Martin was 2nd quickest last time by, although he's running back in 6th position, so the speed's escalating here. Still some 73 laps to go. Next time by, 74 this time, as Phil Parsons, Duralube Chevy, trying to make a move on the Luxair machine of Glenn Allen. He still can't clear him.
Can't clear it. And Glenn Allen gets that run down the straightaway.
And in 13th position. Remember, Phil Parsons began the year with a great run at Daytona from 31st to top 10. But The guys they're chasing are these two right here. Joe Nemechek, the Bell South Chevrolet, and the track gear Ford of Jeff Burton. As we check in with Bill Weber.
Well, not only is Joe Nemechek running well on the track, but he's also having great pit stops. And the reason for that is he goes to the Winston Cup garage to get his guys. You got Randy Hildreth from the Rudd team, Bill Miller from Sterling Marlin, Randy Usher, the front tire carrier from Sterling Marlin, Scott Glasscox from the Jackman from his Winston Cup team, the rear tire changer from Greg Sachs's team. He used to use his own guys, but he had to go to the Cup garage to get some of these guys to help him out because of the Winston Cup guys that race in the Busch Series events. They also bring their Cup guys to pit road. So the race is not only on the track, but it's also on pit road. Meanwhile, a 9-car challenging for the lead against the 87. Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Bill, what a great car Jeff Burton has today. It's number 002, and this is the 10th race for this race car, and it has led 10 times. They won at Bristol with this car, and Jeff Burton now becomes the only driver who has led all 3 of the first Busch Grand National races in 1998.
The car that Tommy Morgan, the crew chief for Jeff Burton, is nicknamed Old Faithful. Every time it's been out, it's led, as you heard Ray Dunlap say, the car they ran Rockingham and dominated today with, led 137 laps, only to have a bad pit stop and not to be able to get the win. Our new leader is Jeff Burton after 129 of 200 laps are complete. Las Vegas Motor Speedway at Las Vegas, Nevada. Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, Jerry Punch here in the booth, along with Ray Dunlap and Bill Weber covering the action on pit road. Exciting NASCAR Busch Grand National Series action, the Samstown Las Vegas 300. Jeff Burton is our leader, the track gear Ford Taurus. Just making a pass a moment ago on lap 128 by Joe Nemechek. There's Nemechek's Bell South Mobility Chevrolet. He had led for 79 consecutive laps from lap 50 to lap 128.
Kind of seems like the success that Jeff Burton has had in the NASCAR Busch Series has made him a better Winston Cup driver. It's just like it gave him the confidence that, hey, I am a good race car driver, and he carried that over to the NASCAR Winston Cup Series.
I think when he went to drive for Roush and Mark Martin gave him a ton of confidence. And he started driving the Busch cars, and he started doing better and better. The next thing you know, he's dominating Busch races like Mark was. And that confidence, he picked it up from the Busch garage, went right over there. Buddy Parrott gave him a lot of confidence. And just walk through the garage area, his team exudes confidence. You know, when they get to the racetrack, they feel like they're a top 3 or 4 team, and they perform like it on the racetrack.
Speaking of getting confidence, how about getting speed? Look at the 32 car of Dale Jarrett. We watched him a moment ago pick off about 3 or 4 spots to get into the top 12, and now he is currently 11th. Second quickest car on the racetrack was the White Ring Ford last time by.
There's one downside to that. He's 16 seconds behind the leader.
That is a downside.
There's a long ways to go without the aid of a slowdown period and getting him caught up with his field. There we see Dale Jarrett as he comes down in turn 1. Mike Dillon, the 72 car, Detroit Gasket car on the inside of Tim Fedewa. And I tell you what, Jarrett's car is really, and Kyle, he's learning something right now that's going to help him tomorrow. There's no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. And he's moved up. He's moved up really about a half a lane higher than anybody else has run. He's going in the corner. He's not really even trying to make it go to the bottom of the racetrack, letting it drift up and just find its own place coming up out of the corner. As you see him come around Fedewa there down the front stretch.
Well, the traffic's going to slow it down a little bit. That's Tim Fedewa with a 27th place car. He's going by now the Kleenex machine. It was a lap down. He really needs to be able to catch the 72 car. Mike Dillon, the Ron Parker-owned Detroit Gasket car, which is the 10th place car.
Dale Shaw a few moments ago make that great save, then in turn 1 not hit the wall. Well, he's behind the wall now. So day is done for Dale Shaw, the UniFirst automobile. Let's see if, and Jarrett, look at it come off this corner. Comes right out, and see, Jeff Burton, our leader, has caught Patty Moise once again. And Joe Nemechek trying to take advantage of that to retake the lead.
Well, Kyle, we're seeing a lot of drivers be very, very careful in traffic. Even though you may be much faster than the car you're passing, they're backing off and picking their spots.
Yeah, definitely picking their spots. A minute ago, when Burton got around Nemechek, they caught the 45 car. They caught Loney. Nemechek went to the outside. Burton went to the inside, got around him. Nemechek was going to fade right there, but you're picking and choosing where you can pass people and where you can't, because you don't want to get caught running side by side with somebody for too long.
Indeed, and the next car that will come up to be lapped by this guy, remarkably, would be our two-time and defending Busch Series champion, Randy LaJoie, who's being shown back in 24th position, as Jeff Burton has led 43 laps in the track gear Ford and is showing the way with 62 laps remaining in the Sam's Town Las Vegas 300. Back with more live coverage in a moment. Just as we come back here, an incident coming out of turn 4. 3 cars sliding across will bring out the caution flag. Here's the leader he gets by Dick Trickle. There is Mike McLaughlin, the Gould's Pump Chevrolet. The Matchlight Kingsford machine of Robert Presley involved. Dick Trickle trying to get the Snyder Transportation machine refired, the Dennis Shoemaker-owned car, and he indeed will get that car fired. So all 3 principals able to refire and pull away. Well, you've heard of synchronized swimming. This was synchronized spinning coming out of turn 4. We take a look.
Trickle on the inside of Mike McLaughlin. I'm assuming that Trickle is going to lose to get the car a little bit out of shape, or it's going to come off the corner and think he's got him cleared again. Kyle?
I think he's got him cleared. He goes up the racetrack. He pushes just a little bit right there, and then Mike just gets into him a little bit. And then Robert Presley, who's already had trouble and been behind the wall changing transmissions, and they all just lightly spin down through here. Not really a lot of heavy contact between any of them. Just barely touch each other.
Well, from high above the Pensole copter cam, it's the old I'm into you, he's into me, and we're all 3 going to spin routine.
See, as he pushes up, and there Dick just seems to check up just a little bit, and Mike's down below him, and they just barely touch, and there they go.
I think that Dick Trickle's car pushed as he came off the corner, and he had to back off the accelerator. Otherwise, he was going to run into the wall, and when he did that, the 34 car runs in the back of him. Ray Dunlap?
Well, Benny, we talked about this tire situation and what was going to happen down here. Jimmy Spencer called in and he said, man, I like those scuff tires. They're really good. And then they heard on the radio that Jeff Burton's going with stickers. So the crew just made a massive switch here, and they pulled up the stickers. So they're going to go with the stickers on the 12 car. This pit stop may be the determination of who wins the race. They're to the right side of the Zippo Chevrolet. Jeff Burton is down, and let's go check on Joe Nemechek where Bill Weber is.
4 sticker tires for Nemechek. Right side's going on, fuel going in. We talked about this pit crew. Meanwhile, a tire escapes from the Martin crew directly in front of him, rolling across pit road. Hermie Sadler's going to have to dodge that tire. Left side's going on Nemechek's car. Buckshot Jones is away. Now to 72 Racing nicely. Now Nemechek pulls away. Spencer's out. Phil Parsons is back on the track. Mark Martin's being held on pit road down here. Earnhardt is away. Now Elliott Sadler. Meanwhile, Mark's still sitting here held for 10 seconds. Mark Martin crew actually had guys run up and jump on the wall from his Winston Cup team after that caution came out. Now they're talking it over with the NASCAR official.
See that tire to the left of the screen? That is a tire on the Dixie crew, and there's a guy walking across to retrieve what I assume would be the right rear tire that would roll across.
So they penalize you now 10 seconds for that guy?
I guess. I don't know what to say. I assume they do now, evidently. I thought they either brought you back in to stop and go or made you go into the longest line, but maybe that's what they do.
Previously, the penalties during a pit stop had been for too fast coming into the pits. We'll check in his pits and find out if the penalty was indeed for that errant tire which rolled across. We're under, and we are now being told they did indeed hold him because of the right rear tire that rolled across pit road there from the Winn-Dixie pits. Frustrations here in the final laps as we are 57 laps away from conclusion of the Sam's Town Las Vegas 300. Continuing with our celebration of the 50th anniversary of NASCAR. Happy anniversary, NASCAR. Absolutely the best racing around. NASCAR Winston Cup competition. If you want to find out more, well, how about just riding along on the Information Superhighway? NASCAR online at www.nascar.com. Real-time information about your favorite drivers and what's happening each and every weekend in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. And we are under caution once again at Las Vegas Motor Speedway because of this simultaneous tap and slide moments ago in turn 4.
That's Dick Trickle in the 64 car, Mike McLaughlin in the 34, and Robert Presley in 59. And we saw Tony Stewart come off the corner a moment ago and run in the wall. I think that's what Trickle was going to do if he hadn't backed off the gasoline. When he did, Unfortunately, there's another car right behind him in McLaughlin, who ran the back of Trickle.
All three of those cars able to get fired up and move away. So we'll show you where your favorite drivers are running. Hermie Sadler is being shown as the leader by virtue of a 2 tire change. Must have had a whale of a pit stop.
He came in 7th. We see the 72 car in 3rd spot. He was 10th, and Phil was 12th. He's now in 5th spot.
And Kyle, for the 2nd time, Buckshot Jones only taking on 2 tires.
2 right sides, they said, too. So that means he's got a ton of laps on your left side tires, and that does come into play on a flat racetrack. So I'm even more anxious to see what Buckshot does now, because he's going to have some laps by the end of the race on those left side tires.
Well, 55 laps to go here will comprise this 200-lap, 300-mile
Get ready, Timmy. Get ready. Green.
1993 NASCAR Busch Series Rookie of the Year. Hermie Sadler will lead him down to the green flag on a restart at lap 147.
And Michael Waltrip, the 21 car, the Band-Aid car, trying his best to get a lap back. He's in front of Hermie. And here comes Buckshot Jones on the inside. He's going for me. The backstretch.
Buckshot in the double.
Still out there.
Whoa, he tries to get underneath him and decides to slide back inside.
Watch this. Oh, and there's a car out there, Hermie. And there's Mike Dillon. He wants to go for the lead.
That's a 72
One car still out there.
Buckshot will be credited with leading that lap. Buckshot Jones the leader, then Hermie Sadler.
Here comes Nemechek. The white and blue car on the inside is Joe Nemechek. Jeff Burton right behind him.
Left side of the yellow car on the left side of your screen, that is Sadler. Right side, that is Burton. Lap car of Michael Waltrip, then the lap car of Andy Santerre.
Clear all around you.
And then the leader, the 00, with Mike Dillon in 2nd spot in the 72. Jimmy Spencer sneaking into it, right side
Clear
of
all around
the car number 12.
Alongside Jeff Burton, and they're going to go, and they're going to put Nemechek in the middle of the wheel.
Spencer in turn 1 trying to make the pass. Here comes Nemechek back. He's in the middle. Burton is high.
Wow. You've seen a lot of that with the cars that are further back in the pack, but that's the 3 fastest cars on the racetrack and have been consistently all day. Over 3 wide down the straightaway.
You would think there were 10 laps to go instead of 51 to go, but they are running 3 wide here on the restart. As you said, Kyle, these are 3 of the fastest cars in the race.
Meanwhile, Andy Santerre has passed Michael Waltrip. He's trying to get a lap back. And here comes the leaders. Mike Dillon, the Detroit Gasket car, is going for the lead. He has it off too. Here's Spencer on the inside in that white 12 car.
Spencer awfully good off of turn 2. Watch him down the backstretch. Lots of horsepower, and Nemechek goes with him. Dillon the leader, Spencer in 2nd. They are side by side, make it 3 wide for 3rd.
Out there, be careful.
Yeah, be careful.
He's up.
That's about the best advice you give it to Kyle. Be careful.
Boy, Jeff Burton got on the flat of the racetrack top.
3 wide, and they're saying, be careful. What's that all about? That's like playing with a fire, saying, that's hot, don't touch it. You know what I mean? You're right in the middle of it right now.
And look at Mike Dillon trying to put Michael Waltrip a lap down. Waltrip fights back on the outside. Oh, Dillon doesn't want to see this, but he gets a great run off the corner.
Mike Dillon, great run. The Detroit Gaskets car started back in 21st position. Riding along with Joe Nemechek in the Bell South Mobility Chevrolet.
Battle for the lead. Spencer gets that great run off the 2nd corner and goes in 3, takes the lead from Mike Dillon.
Spencer and Burton and these guys are cutting their way through. You know, Dillon and shot in those guys. But you got to keep in mind, they changed 4 tires, and just like they said, Spencer put on 4 sticker tires compared to what these other guys are doing with 2.
Yeah, Spencer Santerre. Oh, and you're going to learn a lot in the next few laps here in your young NASCAR Busch Series career. Because if you look up in the mirror, there's Spencer on the inside. Dylan, Jeff Burton's coming. Joe Nemechek is coming.
Dale Jarrett now being shown in 6th position. The white ring Ford. We saw how fast he was before running that high line. And
right behind him is Phil Parsons, who must have had an incredible pit stop because those guys jumped up into the top 10 and they're running really good right now.
Meanwhile, Buckshot Jones, who only changed 2 tires, has being shown he is sliding back into 8th spot as we check in the pits with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Doc, I was pretty sure that it was the 2-tire stop that was killing those guys, but evidently Buckshot has run into somebody earlier in the race and knocked in the front nose a little bit, and that's making the car really push. Now, the guys that have 4 tires are probably going to have an advantage as this long green goes, but it's not the 2 tires that's hurting Buckshot. It is definitely the front end. Let's go to Bill Weber.
It's 2 tires that is helping Phil Parsons. The pit stop 1 stop ago, I asked the crew how it went, and they said it was pretty bad. But this time, Phil Parsons took 2 right side tires. Was one of the fastest guys here on Friday. Early problems here, but now 2 tires has helped him get to the front, just as Kyle was speculating.
Have a seat. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get by Phil. He and Elliott Sadler. Now Phil Parsons in the sandwich of 3 abreast. And Earnhardt goes right by.
That is 6th, 7th, and 8th spot. And from 8th position, Dale Earnhardt Jr. now will take 6th spot as they battle for 7th with Phil Parsons on the inside of Elliott Sadler. Meanwhile, back up front, a battle for 3rd spot.
Mike Dillon loses that spot. Here comes Dick Trickle. He's now a lap down. Because of that spin he had coming off turn 4 a moment ago.
Spencer the leader. Jeff Burton in 2nd spot. Nemechek is 3rd. And you see that there's the car they're chasing, the Zippo Chevrolet. For gentleman Jimmy Spencer, Mr. Excitement, trying to hang on for the final 44 laps and win at Las Vegas. Back in a moment. Speedway, the laps are winding down. The 2nd annual Sam's Town Las Vegas 300. These beautiful shots from high above, courtesy of the fine folks at Pennzoil in our Pennzoil Copter Cam. Giving you a look at this expansive 1.5-mile facility. Beautiful green patch and carved out of the desert some 15 miles north of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, about 15 miles south of here, they got a lot of green carved out in the desert.
They're carving it out of a couple of us. And there are the cars that are lead. There's Jimmy Spencer in the car number 12.
And Jeff Burton is getting closer and closer. He gained 0.2 of a second that last lap. Mark Martin trying to get by Buckshot. That's a battle for the 8th spot. Was held, as you saw a few moments ago, 15 seconds. One of his tires got away from Truman and rolled across pit road. NASCAR penalized him 15 seconds. Last time it was a 1/2 second. This time they go by, and the difference is, well, 0.47. A little bit less this time. And look at Dale Jarrett. The fastest car that time was the White Rain car of Dale Jarrett. And we saw him a few moments ago. Dale Jarrett was really running a great line around the racetrack. It was working so well for him.
Yeah, totally different groove than anybody else was running at that point in time. And, you know, once he found that groove when he was able to come in and put on good tires, if he went straight back to it, then obviously it's working for him pretty well right now.
Well, what a job he did yesterday in our live coverage of qualifying. He had not been that quick all day in practice, but just turned a perfect lap in qualifying and just drove it into the corners to put that car on the pole for the Las Vegas 400.
And that's time see Stanton Barrett was the 2nd fastest, 3rd fastest car. Imagine that.
Stanton had that great run in Daytona. Started 34th and managed to get a top 15 finish.
was a third of a second behind, and this time he was a little bit more than a third of a second. Those two cars, the 12 and the 9, are pretty doggone close. But throughout the day, historically, the 12 car runs good for about 20-25 laps and then starts fading. But those new tires, it might not fade this time.
Looking at Jeff Burton, I'm impressed with Mike Dillon. He's the first of the Busch Series regulars, having a great run in the Detroit Gasket Chevy in 5th position. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 6th spot.
Did you see, I'm sorry, Jared, did you see Buckshot Jones was the 3rd fastest car that last time, Kyle? And hasn't changed left side tires for well over 100 miles.
I was going to say he's got at least 100 miles on those left side tires. So, you know, and that's what I said before. You know, everybody was a little concerned about tire wear, and obviously it's not as bad, or the tires aren't going away. Goodyear has a very, very good tire here right now.
Just how good those Pontiacs are, Kyle.
Hopefully. They say you run into somebody in Benny's front end. I'm going to go down there and check and see who I need to run into to bend mine the same way.
Exactly the same. Here's the guy they're chasing, Jimmy Spencer in the Zippo Chevy. Two-time winner. Last year is Phil Parsons on pit road for what has to be an unscheduled stop. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
Well, I came down here to check with the crew. They were sitting on the wall. They had no idea Phil had a problem. So he coasts to a stop here. The car is not running. They'll pull out the hood pins and they'll go underneath. So similar problem to perhaps what Phil had last week at Rockingham, but coasting to a stop. They go under the hood. Engine not running. And the steering wheel is off. The gloves are off. The net is down. And a very disappointed Phil Parsons will climb out of his car.
What a tough break. Gene Need, the crew there, the Aerolube crew looking beneath the hood. Phil had a great run.
Great run. Great pit stop to put him up when he needed to be with 20 or 30 laps to go.
Well, less than 35 to go here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Jimmy Spencer trying to pick up his first win in 1998. Brand new race car for Spencer. Mike Laughlin machine he brought to Vegas. There's the car number 9. Old Faithful, Tommy Morgan calls it, the crew chief for Jeff Burton's Busch Series effort. Car that's led all 10 events it's been in the last 2 years.
As you look back through the field, we see Matt Kenseth back in 15th spot. He was the points leader, tied with Mark Martin going in. Obviously, if the race continues on, we see LaJoy, defending champion, back in 18th spot. If it continues as the way it's going now, Mark Martin would leave here with the points lead. But obviously, Mark Martin will not run the entire NASCAR Busch Series schedule this year, so Matt Kenseth would once again gain points on Randy LaJoy, who you figure would be his primary contender.
That's the youngster Grubb.
Wayne Grubb out of Richmond, Virginia. And some pretty serious damage to the left rear of that automobile. And once again, caution flag is out. And Kyle, they don't have any tires to change now, do they?
Buckshot Jones is the only one. He must have 1 or 2 sets of left down there. But he's the only guy I know on pit road that's got any tires left.
Oh, heavy impact from that young man. Hard impact. But the car number 83, Wayne Grubb in the Link Belt Chevrolet, brings out caution for the 5th time. We'll come back and check out the pit stops in a moment. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway under caution for the 5th time today. Wayne Grubb's Chevrolet, a hard impact of the outside retaining wall coming off turn 2. The youngster from Virginia, late model stock car driver. And we wonder if we're going to see some pit stops. So we'll see if we can see again what may have happened to Wayne Grubb a moment ago.
Comes off the corner, and right there, I don't know if there was any contact from the 77 car or not, or if Wayne just lost control coming off the corner. Couldn't tell.
Yeah, I don't think there was from the 77 car. Whatever this car is, right, 74. There could have been some from LaJoy there because it was almost like he had turned around, but it really didn't look like there was any contact from anybody. He just was out a little bit, and it got away from him, it looked like.
Wayne Grubb's first start in 1998. Plans on running 17 events. Well, we might explain why we don't see wholesale pit stops. As you heard Bill Weber explain at the front of the show, the NASCAR Busch Series rules dictate that you are allowed 3 sets of tires under caution total. And most of these guys have used up their 3 sets, and it wouldn't do them any good to pit. They don't need fuel. They can't take tires, so why even come down? Plus the fact that you don't want to lose any track position by making a pit stop. So under caution for the 5th time today. With less than 30 laps remaining here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The sun about to set in the desert. Back with more in a moment. Up at Mark Krogh, both stopping. And both those cars were on the lead lap. But none of the leaders, Kyle, opting to come in and make any changes at all.
No, I think track position is too important for those guys to come down pit road. And, you know, Mark Green, who's really run well all day, it looked like he may have put some tape on the grill. And if the car's running cool enough, then tape's going to help him downforce-wise. So, you know, maybe with 20 or 25 laps to go, he's counting on changing the handling characteristics just enough to be able to pick up a few positions.
Remind people that coming up next, Sports Center, and we'll recap Duke and North Carolina, Duke and UNC. Of course, that's all coming up next, all the exciting action around the country. And college basketball, as we're getting closer and closer to tournament time. There's a look at Ricky Pearson, who is the crew chief, son, of course, of legendary David Pearson. He is the crew chief for the 00 of Buckshot Jones. Great crowd on hand, waiting to see a great finish in just a moment. Speedboat coverage of the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series Sam's Town 300 is being brought to you by getting set for a 27-lap shootout. Jimmy Spencer is leading, but let's give a call to this guy right here, the Al-Arrest Meredith Ruark owned machine of Stanton Barrett. He is in 10th position, started in 27th spot. Stanton Barrett now in 10th spot. Remember the great run he had a few years ago, 2 years ago at Atlanta, where he finished 5th. Now getting back to be able to run the Busch Series, hopefully on a full-time schedule for 1998.
A few moments ago, we showed the speeds. He had the third fastest speed. All right, here we go. Off the corner, Spencer. Big trickle on the inside, trying to get a lap down. Trying to get a lap back. Burton out to the outside, tries to get a run off Spencer off the corner.
Spencer's car just didn't accelerate, I think, like he wanted it to on that restart, because it looked like Burton was going to go around him from the very beginning.
All right, Spencer on the bottom. Burton up high. They are side by side, heading for 4.
They take that. Well, you take that back. And here comes Nemechek. He's going to try to make it. No, he decided to back off in the corner and let those guys go on in. And here comes Dale Jarrett. And we know where he wants to be, on the outside.
Spencer, Burton, Nemechek, Jarrett, experience at the front of the field. Then a guy named Earnhardt, but it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 5th position. There's Dale Jarrett, top of your screen. 3rd starting position. You're right along with Joe Nemechek in the Bell South Mobility Chevy. Pretty good visibility there, but when they swap ends of the racetrack and the sun hits that windshield, well, the vision gets pretty poor.
About right now, he's going to start driving in the sun. You know, it's not too bad. They can still see the racetrack.
Still pretty good. The way this time of the day, the way the angle is, it's not right like straight at you, so it's pretty decent.
So Nemechek, you hear him pick the throttle back up. These cars have 350 cubic inch engines. They are 9-to-1 compression, and they have a 390 carburetor.
Dale Jr. getting by Trickle, who's a lap down. The last time we saw Dale Jr. and Trickle, they were upside down on top of each other at Daytona when they were running together.
Just a reminder, Sports Center coming up next, the conclusion of our NASCAR Busch Series live coverage from Las Vegas. Watching a youngster, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Remember, he followed Mark Martin earlier in the day to learn some of the groove of this racetrack. Now he is closing in on another veteran, Dale Jarrett.
And Dale Jr.'s cars worked great on the bottom of the racetrack all day, and we saw Dale Jarrett make the high groove work. So these are two entirely different grooves we'll see when they start racing each other.
Wow. Boy, Stanton Barrett up high. One car slipping a little bit. Low and off the wall was Elliott Sadler.
Is he going to the bottom to get out of the way, or no? It doesn't look like it. He's still under throttle. He just bounced off the wall and kept going.
The right rear tire is white, though. You can see where he got into it just enough that he's got the wide white right now.
A moment ago, a scary moment for Stanton Barrett in the car number 89.
Goes down the corner on the inside of Buckshot. He goes up the hill, and he said, man, I got to get this thing off the 00 car. And when he does, Kyle, he did a great job in saving that car.
Great job in saving it.
Okay, here's Elliott Sadler's contact out of turn 4. All right, now accident on the front. That's Andy Santerre, Mike McLaughlin. The Monroe Shocks and Parts machine of Santerre has come to rest backwards, and he bats it down off the racetrack. The leaders are in turn 3. Here they come back to turn 4. Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt Jr. were side by side. Here comes Dick Trickle trying to get a lap back. He will not be able to catch the leader, Jimmy Spencer, but the caution comes out for the 6th time today. Well, now less than 20 laps to go. Once again, the cars involved in the incident, the latest caution flag, Andy Santerre and Mike McLaughlin here at the start-finish line. We were starting to see a lot of slipping and sliding out there. We had just seen Elliott Sadler tap the wall. We saw Stanton Barrett with a great save in turn 3, trying to keep his car off the 00 of Buckshot Jones.
Once again, we'll see the replay. And watch the black 66 right in the middle of the screen come off the corner. The car just starts pushing. He goes up the hill, and am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? Oh, there's the 47 car losing control. I'm sorry, that was the different deal. And Santerre finally does lose control. Mike McLaughlin, I tell you what, did Joe Bessie thread the needle, Kyle, or what?
Right through the middle, just perfect. The 57 car appeared to get into the back of Santerre right there as they come up off the corner.
Yeah.
You can see him. He gets him right here, and he gets a little out of shape, and Jason drives on by him, and then Mike gets hit in the back. This is the second time Mike's been out through the grass. I know he's not enjoying this any.
Almost the same tracks that he did the last time.
Almost the same place. You see the 57 right here get into him just a touch, just enough to get him out, and he almost got it back. Then he's right up through the middle of the pack, and there Mike gets hit in the back by somebody and sent out through the infield.
Did you see LaJoy, the defending series champion? He's right behind Santerre as he's spinning, and he just has to jam on the brakes and try to keep him getting into Santerre.
LaJoy has dodged. He was within 50 yards of being a lap down. He's been in the middle of 2 or 3 accidents and hadn't been involved with any of them, but been right there at it. But that's why he's a champion, I guess.
Well, indeed, that's why he is. And speaking of champions, we're going to update what's happening in college basketball and other things coming up at Sports Center, which is coming up next at the conclusion of our NASCAR Busch Series event. Huge day for college hoops on ESPN, and we'll tell you how it shakes out and who's got a shot, who's going to get in the big dance, the NCAA championship playoffs. Back with more from Las Vegas in just a moment. Continuing with a huge Speed World weekend at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Tonight, happy hour, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Tomorrow, we begin with RPM today at 1:30. Then we set the stage NASCAR today at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And then our live flag-to-flag coverage of the inaugural Las Vegas 400 at 2:30 Eastern Time on ABC Sports. Dale Jarrett, Jeff Bodine will lead him down. That guy there, probably still celebrating from Daytona, would like to get win number 2 here tomorrow. Let's check in with Bill.
One thing to watch for here, before the last caution, Jimmy Spencer's crew had told him to stay low. Guard the bottom of the racetrack, because that's where Jeff Burton is the strongest. That's what we saw in the last restart. Spencer stayed on the bottom. He tried to force the 9 to go around him on the outside. Let's see what happens now.
Burton awfully strong on the restart. Lap 185, 15 to go, and it is a shootout. It's a drag race in turn 1.
But Burton does not want to be 3 deep on the outside. Meanwhile, he's got problems on the inside with Joe Nemechek right beside on him.
Nemechek has the lap car of Dick Trickle in front of him. And Jarrett is on the high side right behind the car number 9 of Burton. Nemechek somewhat boxed in there behind the lap car.
Burton had position going into turn 1 on the restart, but Trickle was a spoiler there, and Spencer wasn't about to let out. He needed to protect that, just like Weber said.
Jimmy Spencer able to clear the lap car of Dick Trickle. Nemechek tries to go all the way to the bottom of the racetrack and will get by Trickle. That will set up a shootout. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has gone by Dale Jarrett for position and now looks to the inside of Trickle, the lap car. He is in 4th spot, and they battle side by side for 2nd.
Nemechek goes into the 2nd spot. Burton tries to come back on the outside, and he does come back on the outside. Great run off that 2nd corner on the top side of the racetrack. The 3-car Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to make it 3 wide here in just a second.
He looks high, looks low, and he is awfully stout, Kyle.
He gets an incredible run up off of turn 4 down the straightaway. Here he goes to 2nd.
And an accident here in the front stretch. 3 cars, 4 cars involved. Another car is spinning. The 44 is involved. Heavy contact. There's the Shell Pontiac. Left of the Shell Pontiac for Tony Stewart. Couple of cars pulling away, trailing smoke.
Meanwhile, they're racing back to the line, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in 2nd spot as they come back to the line.
And they're trying to slow him down. Spencer goes low. Earnhardt Jr. is 2nd. Nemechek 3rd. Burton, and then Dale Jarrett in that order. And they will take the caution flag for the 7th time. There's the car number 4 of Jeff Purvis. He was one of the cars involved, the Lance Snack Chevy.
This is right along with it. This is a live shot as we see the smoke blowing up where the fenders are rubbing the tires as Purvis goes to pit road.
Well, there's the heavy damage on Tony Stewart's car. Front and rear. See if we can see what may have happened.
I see the 17 car Matt Kenseth gets together with Purvis and just turn those cars directly up into the path of the 57 car of Jason Keller and Tony Stewart.
Wow. Last week, remember the contact between the 17 and 44 for the win. This is quite a bit different.
You ever see the 4 car? Here goes the 17. They're about 5 wide right here. Right, and all of a sudden, when the 4 car Purvis comes down, there's another car there. They make contact, and 5 wide, Kyle.
5 wide.
Yeah.
And every one of them in the right place. I mean, in a proper groove. It's not like anybody was being stupid. They were just all there racing.
All right, on board with Jeff Purvis. We'll take a listen.
Wow.
Not even sounds ugly.
Does it feel that violent in there, Kyle?
It does feel that violent. I'd like to see that replay again. I want you to see what Tony Stewart does. He just turns loose of the steering wheel, and the steering wheel just continually spins. But that was a pretty violent hit right there, and it does feel that violent because it's so unexpected. You know how it is, Benny. You've wrecked before. When you can brace for it, it's a little bit different. But when you can't brace for it and you're not ready for it, it just goes. Here, Tony gets into him right here as they come up off the corner, and then all of a sudden when he gets hit, you see it right here. Now watch the steering wheel. He's got a hold of the steering wheel. He's got it again. And he just turns loose of it. And watch it just go back and forth. It just spins. He almost reaches back in there.
I mean, that's really dangerous to let go of the steering wheel because that thing's spinning around like you put your hand in there, it'll break the thing.
It'll break it. That's exactly right. And that's what I say. But he just turns loose of it and lets it spin. But, you know, at that point in time, there's no need to hang on to the steering wheel anyhow because it's just going to go wherever it wants to go.
We've seen some drivers let go of the steering wheel at super speedways. Bill Elliott broke a wrist a couple of years ago by cutting a tire and trying to hold on the steering wheel and snapped the wrist just back, his arm just back above the wrist. Kenny Schrader said when he hit the wall abruptly at Daytona back in the qualifying race, his hands came off the steering wheel, which probably kept him from breaking a hand or a wrist or maybe even a forearm. There were repairs being made on pit road to Matt Kenseth's Chevrolet. Last week's winner at Rockingham involved in an incident here. The 7th caution flag of the day. Back in a moment. Speedway, we're running over a little bit when this NASCAR Busch Grand National Series event. Remind you, 7 o'clock Eastern time tonight. RPM tonight, Busch Grand National highlights. We'll have the entire rundown. You'll hear from the winner of this Busch Grand National Series event. We'll preview the Las Vegas 400, and, of course, Rusty Wallace in the driver's seat. And later tonight, we'll have our happy hour, 11 o'clock Eastern time, that final 60-minute practice session to prepare for tomorrow. And speaking of tomorrow, RPM today at 1:30 Eastern time, NASCAR today at 2 o'clock Eastern time, and then, of course, what follows is our live flag-to-flag coverage of the inaugural Las Vegas 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, live at 2:30 Eastern time on ABC Sports. And don't forget, coming up next, SportsCenter following us right here on ESPN. Great crowd on hand. A look at this beautiful 1.5-mile facility about 15 miles north of Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas Motor Speedway. $200 million project, and what a gorgeous facility. There are escalators for the fans to go from inside to out. Every comfort you could ask for the fans and competitors right here at Las Vegas. And they're getting ready to see a shootout these final 8 laps. These shots courtesy of our fine friends at Pennzoil and the Pennzoil Copter Cam. There's the Winston Cup Garage in the foreground, the Busch Garage to the left. A beautiful quad oval, 1.5 miles. 160-mile-an-hour laps. Banked just 12 degrees. Remarkable. This track is banked exactly the same as Martinsville, Virginia, 12 degrees. And the average speed at Martinsville, Kyle, is like 90 miles an hour. Here you run 165. It's a 70-mile-per-hour difference for the same banking. Wow.
I wouldn't want to run as fast as Martinsville as we run here, ever, no matter what.
Take a look at the field summary. Ed Barrier started in 41st up to 12th spot. Never see 16 through a 30th. Matt Kenseth, the last car on the lead lap. And then we'll go back 31 through 43, and we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cars out of today's competition.
We might mention Matt Kenseth was the co-point leader coming into this event. He was involved in an incident a moment ago, so he's still on the lead lap, but barely in 19th position. And also hanging on, Randy LaJoie, last year's series and two-time Busch Series champion, in 18th spot. Well, prior to the caution flag, I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. may have been the quickest car on the racetrack. The AC Delco Chevrolet. Got to wonder if experience or lack of may come into play these last 8 laps.
I think on this racetrack, youth and enthusiasm might overcome, might it, Kyle?
Youth and enthusiasm may overcome it.
And a fast race car.
And a fast race car. And I'm going to say something here. No matter how he comes out, he's learned a lot. He's going to learn a lot more in the last 8 laps of this race.
And he's impressed a lot of people. There's Tony Eury and the crew of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Last year, they had their driver, Steve Park, who ran awfully well here. Steve started back in 28th and finished 8th. And there's the young man they're watching, 23 years of age, just his 12th ever Busch Grand National Series start. You talk about bloodlines, now there is a bloodline.
Nemechek's laying back to get that start.
Lap 194, lead 5 to go. Next time by, Nemechek has the shot on the outside.
Saw him laying back a couple of car lengths trying to get that run. He's able to get by Earnhardt, but he couldn't get by Spencer.
Now Jeff Burton will fall in behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 4th position. Dale Jarrett is 5th.
Just 7 laps to go. 6 this time out.
Nemechek still about a car length and a half behind Spencer, who's showing a lot of strength.
Well, it looks like that sticker tire change really worked for Jimmy Spencer, doesn't it, Kyle?
Really, monitoring what some of the other cars were doing, and when they said stickers, they went stickers instead of scuffs, and it looks like it's paying off. And I'm going to tell you, Dale Jr.'s car, I think if he had a few more laps, his car is coming on too.
You see 5 laps to go. Just one handful.
You know, with the 10-lap rule is a single-file restart, which would have played right into Jeff Burton's hands. But he had just been passed right before the caution came out, which shuffled him back to 4th instead of 2nd, where he really wanted to be. And now he's going to have he's having to struggle to even catch up with these guys.
Look at Earnhardt right on the very back. Car is handling so well. And here he comes. Turns left and just drives on the inside of Nemechek.
And can he hold on in turn 1? This is where Nemechek has been able to come back strong. Earnhardt on the bottom of the racetrack. And he will have the position with 3 laps to go next time by.
Great move.
It was a great move. What a great race car that Tony, Dale Jr., all these boys have put together this afternoon.
And here's a young man who had never seen this racetrack. He came out here to Las Vegas at the SEMA show last November to make the announcement he would drive his dad's race car in Busch competition for 1998. And now he finds himself in 2nd spot as they flash by with 3 to go.
It is true that the car has picked up a severe push. He's not able to come off the corner with the accelerator all the way to the floor, having to play with that gasoline that just kills momentum. Watch Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he closes in, gets closer and closer. Meanwhile, we got a smoker going down in turn 1. I sure hope that doesn't bring out the caution flag.
Dale Jr.'s strongest through 3 and 4. But I tell you what, no matter what you say, he's had a great race, but Jimmy Spencer and those guys have put together a chess match as far as making the right calls in the pits and Jimmy driving it on the racetrack.
White flag next time by. It is Spencer, Earnhardt Jr., Nemechek, Jeff Burton, and Dale Jarrett in the top 5. Mark Martin is 6th. Dillon is 7th. They go by the slow car on the inside there, coming for the white flag.
You said this is where the Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the strongest, and look as he closes in to 1 car length. He's right on the back bumper as a white flag is waved.
All right, but catching Jimmy Spencer is one thing, Kyle. Passing him is something else.
I said he's going to learn something in the last 8 laps. He's going to learn something in the last lap here. This man can make a car wider than anybody in any type of racing.
They are 3/4 of a mile from the checkered flag. Spencer, the veteran, Earnhardt Jr. at 23 years of age is 3 car lengths back, but he comes into where his part of the racetrack is. Turn 3.
And he tried to go on the outside.
His car slides up, and there's an accident, but Spencer, huge accident in turns 3 and 4.
Stanton Barrett's in the front.
1 car upside down.
LaJoie.
That is Randy LaJoie, the defending series champion, as he slides down on his roof in the Fina Chevrolet. 3 cars in the wall, 1 upside down. There is the Glenn Allen car, what's left of the Bill Papke Luxair machine. He's moving around with his window net down. There's the channel lock car of Kevin LePage. Heavy damage both front and rear there on his Chevrolet.
Dick Trickle also went by in the 64 car. Some heavy damage to that automobile.
And safety crews are there immediately. There is Glenn Allen out of his car, walking down across. Look at the debris all over the racetrack there. As the field now passing by. Jimmy Spencer did win the race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. second, but now the primary concern is for the defending series champion, Randy LaJoie, whose car tumbled over on its top, and now the crew, along with the safety crews, are there to help get
There he is.
LaJoie out, and he is out of the car, standing there taking the helmet off, talking to some of the other crew members, and that is a great sight.
That's one of the Barbasol crew that was over there. And there's the winner.
All right, Jimmy Spencer in the Zippo Chevrolet is the winner of the Sam's Town Las Vegas 300. Now, folks, we'll have full results coming up at 7 o'clock on ESPN2 on RPM tonight. Full results including the interview and a recap of that wild scramble on the final lap. Will update on what's going on with Randy LaJoie and a wild scramble. Remember, coming up next is Sports Center with Gary Miller and Mike Greenberg. Updating what's going to happen with Duke in North Carolina, what happened earlier today, the NCAA bids up for grabs, the Angels preview. That is Sports Center coming up next. But remember, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. RPM will have an interview with this man who's the winner and a final rundown from Las Vegas. For Benny Parsons, Kyle Petty, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber, I'm Jerry Punch saying so long from Las Vegas. Been a special presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
After ceremonies, Mr. Allen.